What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple new type. And in this episode, we are finally diving into Mobile Suit Gundam, The Origin. This isn't written by Tomino, but rather, Yoshikazu Yasuhiko will take the reins. During this coverage, I want to mainly highlight the differences between this manga and the original Gundam series. There may be moments that are glossed over that were covered in detail in our original Mobile Suit Gundam 1 Year War coverage. For those new to the channel, despite the name Origin, this is not a good starting place, as I will be glossing over a lot of details and talking with the assumption that you have watched the original run of Mobile Suit Gundam. Let's not waste any time, and let's get into this. We all know how this story starts by now. Humans live in space, Spacenoids want autonomy, Spacenoids drop a colony on Earth. 8 months later, we cut to Side 7. Zeon comes to infiltrate the colony with a squad of Zakus. While this is happening, the Trojan Horse is also docking with Side 7. This is EFF's new ship, White Base. On White Base, Captain Paolo Cassius tells Lieutenant Bright Noah that a Musai has been tailing them. Bright is a lieutenant, whereas in the anime he was an ensign. Since Side 7 is neutral, no battleship could get close to the colony. He says this while in a battleship inside the colony. Frau goes and gets Amuro. One thing that is slightly different is their confrontation with Hayato as they leave. He comes off as more sinister and filled with hate for the Federation having a presence in Side 7. The Zaku team, led by Sergeant Ash, breaks into the colony, and they happen to stumble on what appears to be some kind of testing ground. Here, we see mobile suit parts everywhere. They even see parts of a gun tank. Suddenly, they are attacked. They try to take cover and return fire. Some sort of beam cannon is firing on them. Out of the rubble comes the prototype Gundam. The RX-7801 prototype Gundam is a test unit and EFF's first attempt at building the Gundam. It is more or less the same as the RX-7802, but is painted crash dummy yellow. It also has a goggle eye sensor like the GM rather than a twin eye sensor typical of the Gundam. The Zakus are taken aback by the beam rifle. Remember, the Baoa Qu beam rifle is a miniaturized beam cannon typically seen on battleships during this time. This thing goes through Zakus with ease. The EFF crew is informed of what is happening on the test field. This is no test, boy! As the Zakus cause chaos, the people of the colony start dying. Brutal. This guy is missing body parts. Captain Cassius puts a skeleton crew on White Base while everyone heads out and helps the colony. While Unit 0 is out on the field, they release the RX-7802. Out in space is Char and the Fall. Seeing Ash's unit destroyed by a secret EFF mobile suit, it is clear that EFF has broken the treaty. There is a traffic jam caused by Unit 2. Zaku comes terrorizing the area around the Gundam. Amuro, watch out for those 140mm rounds! Frau's family dies from an explosion. Amuro slaps her and gets in the Gundam. Gundam goes pew pew pew, punch, crash, crunch. Char is informed that all 5 of the Zakus fell to the Gundam. Those 5 men with the doing of docile Zabi. Char calls him foolish. He begins his barrage on Side 7. Usually, this is where Captain Cassius gets badly injured in the anime, but here, Ryu and Cassius head out on a shuttle, leaving Bright in command. The shuttle looks like the space launch. This is typically used in ship-to-ship transportation, and I don't think it has weapons. But this one launches missiles. The Musai fires on the shuttle and does a lot of damage. Cassius is fatally wounded. They need to buy more time for White Base, but they have to get the captain back. While trying to find any survivors, 2 men try to carjack Frau and Sayla, but Sayla pulls out a gun and makes them run. Hey, that rhymes. All the survivors make it back to White Base, and Bright takes the ship out of the colony. As they head out, Amuro launches the Gundam once again. He intercepts the attack from the Musai. Next to Bright is a wounded Cassius. He mentions that it is the Red Comet. Amuro goes up against Char for the first time. He does the kick that everyone loves. Char notes that Amuro's beam cannon is as powerful as a battleship. Amuro runs out of power, and White Base fires its megaparticle cannon. Char thought it was originally a supply ship. Char informs Dozle Zabi about the Trojan Horse, while everyone gives each other grumpy faces on White Base. Nothing too different going on here. On their way to Luna 2, we get an interaction between Bright and Sayla. Bright says that he hates civilians because they hide behind their weakness. Sayla, annoyed by this comment, begins taking jabs at Bright's pride. White Base gets a red alert. They notice Char's ship is resupplying and want to get the upper hand. This frame where Hayato Kobayashi volunteers to man the gunner on the gun tank is gold. We see Kai and Hayato launch for the first time in the gun tank and the gun cannon. So a couple things to note here. 1. The RX-75 gun tank is different from that of the anime. A fleet of gun tanks have already been in operation on White Base and are already in mass production. Also, along with the RX-77-2 gun cannon, in production is the gun cannon first type. The RCX-76 gun cannon first type was developed based off of the RTX-65 gun tank early type. The models on board White Base are the only ones that are referred to as the RX-77-1. It has a low recoil cannon and a Gatling gun. We have seen these units in the Origin OVA as well. In Origin, White Base has more than one gun tank and gun cannon in rotation. Because of this, smaller characters like Jabjan gets more play in the manga. The Papua class ship that is resupplying Char launches what Char refers to as the Musai's stepchild. These are Komsais. I guess there wasn't an official name for him yet. The White Base crew begins attacking the Papua and takes it out. Gadim escapes in a Zaku-1, but Hayato and Ryu are able to take him out relatively swiftly. Rather than the White Base crew heading directly to Luna 2, they actually have the opportunity to destroy the Fall Mill, but a Magellan intercepts them and escorts them back to Luna 2. Commandant Joaquin wants to take over for bringing the Gundam to Jaburo. He isn't as much as an asshole as he is in the anime, however. Meanwhile, Amuro makes the face. Char and his team make their move to Luna 2 on foot. Joaquin launches the Magellan, and Char sets off explosives, destroying his ship. He makes his way to the Gundam and tries to steal its data. That is when Sayla comes in and points a gun at his face. This event plays out more or less the same as it did on Side 7 in the anime. As they realize they are siblings, Amuro comes in and Char makes his retreat. Everyone goes pew 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 pew, pow 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 pow. The gun tank team heads to the Luna 2 hangar to help out with the Magellan situation. Joaquin and Captain Palo have a conversation. It appears that Palo was once Joaquin's instructor and he has now surpassed him as Admiral. Palo tells Joaquin that he was always stubborn, or in his words, his reasoning on occasion is inflexible. Palo waxes philosophical about leaving this messed up world to future children, and then goes quiet. Captain Paolo Cassius passes away. In the show, Joaquin does come off as a dick during the Luna 2 arc, but this certainly does humanize him more than it did in the anime. His relationship with Cassius helps us empathize with him more. The gun tanks and gun cannons are able to push the downed Magellan-class ship out of the way. Later, EFF holds a funeral for Captain Cassius. Amuro notes that Sayla was able to talk to Char. White Base heads towards the Earth sphere with a Salamis-class ship as an escort. The Salamis leaves them as they approach Earth. That is when the Fall Mill approaches White Base. Char has been assigned 3 new Zaku pilots. They head out and launch the Komsai as well. The Gundam engages in battle with Char and the Zakus. They reach their time limits. Char returns to his Komsai, but Amuro is falling into Earth's atmosphere. One Zaku goes down. Unlike the anime, the Gundam doesn't have to use the Glad shrink wrap technique. It could just handle breaking through the ozone like a boss. Once the shuttle reaches Earth's atmosphere, Char realizes that they are over North America. They try to get in contact with Garma's Zabi. In California, Garma gets a call from Char. He informs the commander that they pushed their Trojan horse towards his territory. Garma says that he will handle it from here. He preps his Gao. The White Base crew is informed by Bright that they are still 6,000 kilometers away from Jaburo and they are currently in Zeon territory. Without missing a beat, they get a red alert. A Gao and Dops approach White Base. Char's shuttle lands on Garma's Gao. The two flirt with one another. Garma says not in front of the underlings. Yeah, this guy right here, his reaction encapsulates that discussion quite well. Frau tries to get Amuro to pilot the Gundam. This conversation is longer than the anime, and Amuro actually tries to get Frau to empathize with him and understand that EFF is using him. But then she emotionally manipulates him by bringing up her dead family members. Yeah, this doesn't expand or make the moment any better. This was a weird interaction that was concisely summed up in the anime. It didn't have to be dragged out like it was here. Even though Ryu also had experience in the anime, he always felt like one of the child soldiers, like Amuro, who was dragged into the war. But here, he is an established soldier with plenty of experience and confidence. Garma heads out in his DOP. On White Base, Amuro is refusing orders from Bright. Oh snap, is it about to happen? He heads to Amuro's quarters. Oh snap, it's about to happen. Let me pick out a good song for this. Thinking about a little bit of house, maybe something with a little bass? Alright, here we go. Gonna need a cigarette after that one. Amuro doesn't launch, so Bright sends out Ryu and his team without him. The Dops come down on White Base and the mobile suits. They don't spot the White Devil yet. Frau questions Amuro's manhood, and he finally gets in the Gundam. He tells the mechanics to add the shoulder-mounted cannon. Meanwhile, Kim is in the gun tank. I hope we have plenty of adventures with Kim. Oh no, Kim explodes! Amuro finally launches with the shoulder cannon. The shoulder cannon is mounted on the Gundam's back. The wiki says that in order to mount this weapon, the beam saber must be removed, but we will soon see that that is not true. Anyways, Amuro goes pew 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 pew. He notices Garma's Dop. As he goes in to attack, the Gundam pulls out its beam saber and damages the Dop. Garma and his team retreat. When he gets back to White Base, 2 war orphans and 1 Walking Dead kid welcomes Amuro back to the ship. He is very much over fighting. Back on the Gao, Char continues to gaslight Garma. Also, Gaslight Garma is the name of my next pop-punk band. Who wants to join? Char's soon-to-be ex walks in while he's taking a shower. Prepare to be serviced. They are in Hollywood, one of the few areas that haven't been completely carpet bombed. He looks out to downtown, which has been destroyed by the looks of it. The mayor is in control of the guerrillas in the area, and they need to keep a close eye on him. Garma says that he thinks Kycilia is constantly testing him. Char tells him he is overthinking it. On White Base, things are going hectic. Sayla is helping out in the med bay, as there have been some serious injuries over the past few battles. They want to prioritize crew members, but Sayla says that they have to treat everyone equally. The refugees on White Base don't play too big of a role on the anime, but here we are seeing the brutality of what is happening outside of the crew. Lieutenant Reed notes that San Diego to Phoenix is covered in Zeon troops. Staying to the coast while Amuro rests is the best plan for now. Lieutenant Reed doesn't like this. We get the scene where Lieutenant Reed makes Kika cry. Amuro goes to the mess hall where Frau gives him some food. An old man steals bread from a little kid, and Amuro gives the kids his food while giving the old man the evil eyes. At least we are seeing some justification for Amuro not wanting to leave his room. Just like the anime, some of the refugees kidnap Frau and the kids and begin giving demands. They want off the ship even though they are in Zeon territory. A Luggan is tailing them currently. Amuro goes on standby in the Gundam, knowing that Bright will handle the refugees. He then tells Kai Shiden to stop talking shit and annoying people. Back in LA, it looks like Garma took control of the Chateau Marmont, a famous hotel in Hollywood. Char and Garma are hanging out by the pool. The California sun is killing Char's skin. He makes a joke about being allergic to particular bloodlines, and the 2 lovers have a laugh. That is when Isolina comes in. Char learns that she is the daughter of the mayor, who they have been keeping an eye on. Garma was obviously keeping an eye on the wrong person. He is in love with the mayor's daughter. Garma introduces his girlfriend to his boyfriend. The refugees keep getting in the way on White Base. Lieutenant Reed suggests that they let them off. Mirai says that if you ask for a ceasefire while letting off passengers, Zeon would probably oblige. Garma gets the call that White Base wants a ceasefire. Garma doesn't want to allow it, but Char suggests that they let them. He says that he will go deal with it, while Garma and Isolina have a little alone time. He tells Char to bring back White Base for him, as it is his prey. The crew prep the gun parry to take out refugees. They head out. Frau Bow realizes that Amuro and the boys are plotting something and can sense it. The team sets off a fake bomb to make it look like the gun parry engines go down. The ship crash lands. Meanwhile, Char and his team head out. One thing that is really cool about Origin is that they take advantage of the environment. Here we see Char and his Zaku slide down the Hoover Dam. The show was just generic wastelands for the most part in the anime. Char gets notice that the gun parry is going down. He gets intel that it is actually a transport vehicle. He then realizes that the Trojan horse is planning something. One refugee and her son head off to St. Agnes to find her late husband's village. Amuro and the Gundam and Kai and the gun cannon launch from the gun parry and head back to White Base. The Luggan watching over the gun parry notices this and attacks them. They are able to take down the Luggan and it crash lands near the young mother and son. Char makes his way towards White Base. The gun tanks launch to protect the ship. White Base is hit. The Zaku aims between the legs of White Base. They're trying to hit White Base in the balls. One of the Zakus go down. It is the Gundam and the gun cannon coming in the flank. Garma makes his way to the battlefield. He has Magella attack tanks pointed in their direction, ready to provide backup, but he believes that Char is able to handle it on his own. The downed Luggan pilots run into the young mother and son. Char and Amuro continue fighting. Meanwhile, the Zeon pilots help the mother and tell her that the wasteland she is standing in is St. Agnes. The city is no more. The battle between Char and Amuro is more intense in the manga. Bright decides to take off and meet up with the gun parry. Garma will be able to intercept, but that is when the Medea comes in to help Whitebase. They retreat, and Garma is not able to get a good hit on them. Once they retreat, they touch down to meet with Medea commander, Lieutenant Matilda. Bright wants to know when he is getting his salary. That's interesting. Just concerned about a paycheck, Bright? Amuro gets his first military boner. Lieutenant Matilda takes off after resupplying Whitebase. Everyone is hanging out in the sun, having a good time. It is reminiscent of the end of the Origin OVA, kind of. Amuro, however, went off on his own to return to his hometown. He goes to his old home to find EFF soldiers and prostitutes. He goes upstairs to find an old toy which triggers a flashback of his mother. He heads out to find an old woman getting harassed. The old woman notices Amuro. She informs him that his mother is alive and at a nearby refugee camp. Back on Whitebase, Bright finds Masaki cleaning on her off time. Masaki was also in the show, but has such a minimal role. She is like the female Jobjon. Nobody remembers Jobjon. She wonders if the refugees will end up involved in this war. Back on the bridge, they receive a message from EFF to help in liberating Los Angeles the next day. They will receive help from the guerrillas in the area. This, of course, is the mayor's guerrillas that Garma supposedly is keeping an eye on. Amuro's tracker shows them that he is wandering off into Zeon territory. They have to go get him. Meanwhile, Ryu and Hayato are getting down on the mats doing a little judo. Bright cuts their leave short and puts them back on duty. Kai and Sayla head out to go after Amuro and the refugee camp, while Ryu goes to scout in the core fighter. Amuro makes it to the refugee camp and reunites with his mother. Ryu is spotted by two Luggins who begin attacking him. They are from the Hot Dog Patrol. Really? While the scene where Amuro hides under the blankets and shoots a Zeon soldier plays out, just like the anime, Ryu is in an intense dogfight. He is able to take them out, but they hit the gas tank, and the core fighter is leaking fuel. He leaves it in the hands of Kai and Sayla. In the anime, Amuro took out the core fighter instead of a jeep. Kai says he has a bad feeling about this, and Sayla responds by saying it seems he actually does care. Sayla mans the turret. After Amuro does his big boy talk about war with his mother, he rushes back in the jeep only to be found out by Zeon forces. Ah snap, we have ourselves a little jeep battle. Sayla and Kai come in to save Amuro right in the nick of time. Amuro's mother cries. Meanwhile, oh my god, watch out! Someone hand me the bazooka! Dops incoming! We're all gonna die. This jeep battle is one of the best battles so far in the manga. You know, this manga with futuristic fighting robots? They explode one of the Dops and get the hell out of there. One of the coolest shots out of the horizon comes Whitebase. The manga from here plays out the same. Bright meets Amuro's mom, they bid each other farewell, and she mourns for her baby boy who has now become a man. Downtown LA. I guess it isn't completely destroyed? We get the party thrown by the mayor. Garma and Char flirt a little bit. He then says he would leave Zeon for Isoline if necessary. That is when he gets called out regarding Whitebase. But in this case, it is happening right in his backyard. Whitebase holds out and waits for the cavalry. They finally get a flare from the reinforcements. The ship hides out in an abandoned convention center while the rebels push throughout all of the greater LA area. Garma, with Char, head out to retaliate. Char heads out with his team of Zakus to drive out Whitebase. Amuro launches in the Gundam. Char notices the location of Whitebase, but he doesn't tell Garma. This is different from the anime where Char lies and lures him out. As the Gal heads past Whitebase, it fires its megaparticle cannon. Blame this on the misfortune of your birth, ha 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 ha. As Garma tries to go out in glorious battle, kamikazing Whitebase, Mirai is able to accelerate and pull up just in time to miss the ship. Garma Zabi is killed in action. Mayor Joseph's guerrillas that Garma wanted to keep an eye on from the beginning were in fact working with EFF during this attempt to retake Los Angeles. His men were more or less all slaughtered by Zeon. The mayor tells Isolina that Garma was killed in action. She passes out in delusion of this news. While passed out in the corner, Zeon soldiers come barging in. They know that the mayor betrayed them and execute him on the spot. On the dark side of the moon lays Side 3. There, the sovereign leader, Degwin Soto Zabi, gets news of the death of his son. Dozel and the rest of the Zabi family makes its way back to Side 3. Everyone is consoling Degwin, but Girin wants to use this opportunity to bolster morale. Degwin wants to mourn without a fanfare. Bright is talking to Matilda. He is informed that he killed a Zabi family member back during their last attack. This is still classified, even to the rest of Whitebase crew. One thing to note is that manga artists usually use screen tones to give the illusion of gray by using just black and white, so it can cause dynamic shading and allow the artist to take shortcuts. But when you color over it, you have to make the shading more dynamic without making it look weird. This is where American comics thrive. Welcome to my art direction TED Talk. EFF is keeping an eye on Whitebase and allowing them to act as a ragtag crew, mainly to test new types, specifically Amuro. He happens to be listening in on their conversation. Amuro stumbles back to his room to find Frau Bo wondering what he is up to. The next day, Lieutenant Matilda makes her leave. Frau is jealous. Daegwon is watching old video messages from Garma. He goes to give his eulogy to the people of Zeon. Meanwhile, in Zanzibar, Ramba Ral and Hammond Crowley are tracking down Whitebase. During the ceremony, Caecilia notes that Char hasn't responded to their summons. Dozel says that after he couldn't take down the Whitebase himself, he booted him out of the attack force. Dozel and Daegwon mourn while the two sociopaths on the end plot. Whitebase spots the Zanzibar and takes evasive actions. The two ships are getting hit by lightning. All the Space Noids freak out and they think they're getting attacked. In many ways, Space Noids are really ignorant. Ral teaches his team what lightning is. Bright descends to get off radar. They look for somewhere to touch down and hide. Ral starts monitoring the area for magnetic fields. Hammond and Ral sweet talk one another. He says that his mustache will bring him victory, and he kisses Hammond before getting into the goof. This is his teammates Akus and Kozun's first battle, as he tells them not to chase too far. Some of the panels of Whitebase flying through coastal regions are beautiful. Go check them out, as it is something I can't do justice. Ramba Ral's team drops down. He instantly notices there isn't too much anti-air weapons near the rear arms and attacks that area. We see Ral's genius more in the comic, as he is able to make a tactical decision before even touching down on Earth. Kai, Jabjan, and Hayato move to the rear. The gun cannons move in and attack the team, but they are no match for the goof. Amuro spots the goof and thinks it is a high-mobility Zaku. Ral goes in and uses the heat rod on Grandpa. They engage in melee combat.
Say the line, Bart!
Ramba Ral does the thing. Whoops, wrong clip. Kai comes to back up Amuro. Kozun throws a cracker grenade, and the Zeon squad makes their retreat. Amuro wonders why they let them go as they had the upper hand. Somewhere in the undergrounds of Caracas, one of Caecilia's men enters a nightclub. Here he meets Char, who is watching Giran give his speech. The Whitebase crew watches on as well. Amuro and Frau hold hands for a brief moment. Bright yells at the Zabis for plotting against Zeon Zum Daikun and creating a dictatorship under his name. In Origins, it seems there's more factions that seem to believe that Zeon Zum Daikun was assassinated. Caecilia meets with General Garcia Romeo on Earth. They're making their move on South America, but they still don't actually know where the location of Jaburo is. They believe it is somewhere near the Pacaraima Mountains. Remember, also, Jaburo is not just one base, but a collection of bases underground. Caecilia wants to talk to the prisoner. It is Char. She wonders why he got Garma killed. Caecilia sees through Garma and his intentions, but Char recognizes his revenge is now on the other Zabi members. In order to get on their side, he has to play their game. He wants to be assigned to her team and also not be killed. In exchange, he will tell her how to break into Jaburo. Some bunker busters are propped up in the mountains firing down on the Amazon. Suddenly, a GM comes in and karate chops the bunker buster. In Zanzibar, Caecilia and Romeo are scouting the area. They suddenly get a red alert. They are informed that a new white mobile suit is attacking Zeon forces. Caecilia pulls up data on Char, but the Amazon is a maze. Romeo thinks that he has abandoned his mission, but Caecilia gives him more time. A Zeon spy team is heading down the river when they get attacked by some of the locals. However, they go from hostile to friendly when they see Char's face. Ral and his team make it to Earth. He swaps out his Zanzibar for a gallop. The Zanzibar will be taken to Makuve in Odessa. Whitebase makes it to the Andes Mountains. They are following the mountain line as they head south. Master Sergeant Benjamin Adams suggests an altitude below 4,000 meters. He is new to the manga and a character that shows that Whitebase wasn't a complete skeleton crew. Kai mentions that they haven't seen Char recently, and Sayla goes, "Oh snap, we might have killed him the other day. I guess it just hit her." Meanwhile, Amuro is obsessed with collecting data on the goof, as EFF currently has none. Ral and Hammond have a conversation about staying loyal to the Daikun family. Because of this, Ral wasn't made one of the great generals in the Zeon military. but Dozel has tasked him with taking down the Gundam and White Base. Regardless, he rose in the ranks until he refused to take part in Operation British, which is how he is demoted to lieutenant. In the anime, Ramba Ral is referred to as the Blue Giant because of his guerrilla tactics during the Battle of Loum, but since he didn't participate in Operation British, he was removed and thus didn't participate in the Battle of Loum either. The underling makes it to Odessa to meet with Makube. He wonders why Daikum's loyal boy is trying to prove something here on Earth. He just lets him be. If he wants to find out what the battle is like, let him. White Base runs into the gallop. Hammond preps for battle. At the speeds they're going, gun cannons and gun tanks can't launch, but the Gundam can. Amuro heads out. Ral launches with a Kus and Kozun while Hammond hangs back. As they launch, Amuro notes that their Vernier thruster output is higher than he thought. Ral uses a smokescreen around the Gundam and begins punching it. The Gundam's leg is malfunctioning, and Ral notes this. He attacks the weak point and breaks the Gundam's leg. As this is going down, the gun cannon team is handling the two Zakus. One of the White Base red shirts is Daniel Schoenberg. He is able to take down a Kus. Ral sees this and tells Kozun to retreat, but they have the Gundam. That is when Kai and the gun cannon tackles the Zaku. They take the pilot hostage. Bright interrogates their new POW Kozun. Amuro is going over data. He is mad that he didn't get a single thing right. As he takes a break, he finds Mirai and Bright talking about how the rest of the team can hold their own, so he is going to take Amuro off the Gundam. Amuro overhears this and he decides to leave White Base, just like the anime. Sayla heads down to the brig and convinces Jabjan and Mirai to let her talk to the prisoner. She asks about Char Aznavour, and Jabjan kicks her out. Amuro hides the Gundam and finds a town close by to get some water. Frau Bo thinks that Amuro will return, but the rest of the crew is over his selfishness. This causes Frau Bo to become upset and leave White Base as well. Amuro is getting down on some bread when a Samson pulls up. It is Ramba Ral and his team. Hammond Crowley offers to pay for some food, but he denies. Ral insists that they eat with him when Zeon finds Frau sneaking around. Ral looks at Amuro and says, "Hey, is that a gun in your pants? Or are you just happy to see me?" I mean, they had to know that this looks like Ramba Ral touching Amuro's penis, right? Someone signed off on this. Of course, it is Amuro's gun. He lets them go, but has one of his men follow Frau back to White Base. He communicates back to Ral that he found the Trojan horse. Meanwhile, Kozun has a communication device in one of his teeth and tries to get a hold of Zeon. That is when Sayla comes in asking about Char once again. He tells her about the rumors of potentially being the son of the Chosen One, Zeon Daikum. While this is happening, White Base finds an unknown communication signal coming from the lower decks. Bright listens in to find out that it is Sayla. Ral preps for an attack while Amuro runs back into the desert to find the Gundam buried in the sand. They begin their attack. While this is happening, Kozun is able to make his escape from his cell. Bright is informed that the prisoner escaped. Sayla wants to go handle the situation. He allows it, but the bridge crew give each other a look, thinking Sayla may be a spy. He is able to finally contact Ral and tell him that White Base crew is lacking in manpower. He continues his assault. Sayla begins chasing the POW. In the show, they go from the conversation in the brig directly to the chase. On the outside of the ship, it is quiet, but White Base is bombarded. During this attack, Sayla drops her gun. The two scuffle. She does a Sonya Blade kick and picks up her gun. Outside, Kim and Ryu run into Ramba Ral. He tears through the gun tank, killing Kim. Oh no, not Kim! He was like my 6th favorite gun tank pilot! Kai is upset and rushes Ral. Mirai suggests that they do an emergency takeoff. Ral destroys Daniel Schoenberg's gun cannon. He jumps out before it explodes, but oh man, that looks like it hurt. Sayla gets back on her feet. Kozun finds a jetpack and makes it to an emergency hatch. Oh man, is this about to be as unhinged as the anime? I think so. Omer comes in and says, "I could help," and whips out a rocket launcher and blows up the hatch, killing Kozun in the process. I love this scene so much because it goes from 1 to 10 instantly. I guess Omer gets stuff done. Ral takes out Ryu and Hayato when Amuro finally comes in to assist. The two engage in battle. They are able to tear through each other's cockpit, and Ral recognizes that it is the boy from the restaurant. Ral swings off to fight another day, and Amuro walks away from an explosion. Amuro is thrown into the brig for running off with the Gundam. The team is working on repairs on the mobile suits. We meet another White Base crew member that didn't have any appearance on the anime, Ensign Magdalena Rossi, the tech officer. All the kids are asking her questions regarding the resources they have to fix their units. 2 gun tanks are out, but Rossi wants to try to get one of the Zakus that they have captured, working with the top of one of the gun cannons. The captain calls for Omer. Sayla is being interrogated. Last time, she secretly communicated with Mr. Explody. He'd told her the rumors of Char being Fall of Ramba Ral. Zeon replays the message to her. Omer comes in and he is interrogated. Bright tells him to answer only the questions that he is asked. EFF tries to get Omer to confess that Sayla ordered him to fire the bazooka. He says that Bright told them to shoot to kill, so he shot to kill. We get a similar conversation between Ryu and Amuro. He says that he will watch as Ral takes over White Base. Ryu scoffs at him and calls him a liar. They take Sayla back to her cell. We get an offhanded comment by Midai saying that she thought that Bright would have a little bit more of a spine than that. Damn, she's sassy to Bright in the manga. When does the love come to play? Amuro tells Sayla through the walls that he is certain that Char is still alive. She cries out for her brother. I believe this is the first mention of Sayla being Char's sister in the manga. All their encounters were simply hinting, but we get confirmation here. Ral and Haman can't get any more men due to the upcoming attack on Jaburo. In the anime, Odessa happens before Jaburo. They also won't get any Doms to help them, but Ral says that he will take them down with his hands if he has to. On White Base, the boys go AWOL and Ryu chases them down. We get a similar moment where Ryu also doesn't understand what he is fighting for anymore. That is when they spot the Kui. The Kui is designed to transport infantry units into the battlefield. We will see Ral and his team use jetpacks to jump from the Kui to White Base. A variant of this can be used in space with thrusters instead of treads. It is equipped with a single 2-barrel machine gun, and that is it. Ryu and the gang head back to White Base. Amuro consents that Ral is coming. He tells Sayla. Haman is in the gallop waiting to cut off White Base. Amuro begins shadowboxing and prepping for the battle. The Gallop begins firing their cannons on the ship. After they finish lobbing rounds, they will retreat while Ral in the Kui heads in. The orphans convince Bright to release Sayla and Amuro from the brig. Ral's team heads into the hangar on jetpacks. Ral sends Ensign Clamp in the Zaku to continue attacking outside. They head for the bridge. It plays out similar to the anime, but this seems to be played for laughs. The Zeon soldier genuinely is concerned that he might blow up Kika. Midai handles business on the bridge while a couple of redshirts die. Amuro fights with the Zeon soldier when Bright comes in and shoots him in the head point blank. Savage. He tells Amuro to get in the Gundam. If anything happens to White Base, head to Jaburo, even if it is by himself. The hatch is still broke, so they jerry-rigged something to work temporarily. Ral runs into Sayla and recognizes her as Artesia. He hesitates and Ryu shoots him. He shoots Ryu back. Ral aborts the mission and tells Haman that he hesitated in battle. We see Ral's death play out the same way that we saw in the anime. However, unlike the anime, Haman is still in the battle now. She retreats to fight another day. White Base is able to make it to an EFF base in Lima on their way to Jaburo. Some are getting off to visit the hospital, but Ryu doesn't want to get off the ship. On the outskirts of Odessa, Makuve is observing the new dawn. Along with them are Gaia, Ortega, and Mash. They make up the Black Tri-Stars. They bring up the thought of new types to Makuve, but he doesn't believe in such things and calls it supernatural flights of fancy. Lieutenant Matilda comes to the ship and gives Amuro another boner. He makes Frau Bo jealous. We get a great moment where she says, really? And then Hato just mocks her. The team takes their horny photo with the lieutenant. Then Amuro goes to help Midai and the kids fix the sink. All hell breaks loose. All the children are naked and yelling, and there is water everywhere. Afterwards, he looks at his picture of Matilda and literally does a hop and a skip. They plan on heading to Cusco, which is neutral territory. They believe they should begin an operation outside of the territory, but EFF doesn't have enough resources. Matilda says to ask General Revel for more resources, and they all agree. It seems that she has a lot of pull. Also, Amuro still has a boner and making everyone uncomfortable. Stop it. White Base leaves Lima and flies over the Nazca lines. Matilda and the Medea is following behind White Base when they notice a team of Dops heading their way. They begin their attack. One of the Medeas have been hit and has to return to Lima. The Dops pull back as they approach the neutral colony. It seems they are going to make it to Cusco. They make it to the city to see Zeon troops there as well. Amuro looks at the Dom for the first time. In Jaburo, General Revel is planning on meeting with White Base to guide them towards the Amazon base. While in the town, the team runs into a group of Zeon soldiers talking shit to the team about EFF. Hayato fights one and judo flips him. That is when Ortega comes over. The other Zeon soldiers recognize him and the others as the Black Tri-Stars. Gaia says that they will meet again on the battlefield and make their leave. The team heads back to the ship to hang out for the night. That is when they all tell Amuro about the Battle of Loum, which he doesn't know too much about. Here, Jabjon talks about how it was the first big battle with mobile suits, and how it essentially drove EFF out of space. They tell him that General Revel was eventually captured by the Black Tri-Stars, who eventually made his escape. Matilda, Mirai, and Bright can't sleep. It seems that the Black Tri-Stars isn't after them. They are going to wait for them to leave tomorrow, before White Base makes its leave. Matilda mentions to Bright that EFF is going to roll out something big soon. A Fat Uncle drops down near him and Crowley. A Fat Uncle is a Zeon transport craft that can carry 140 tons and can hold several mobile suits. The two jet engines can be folded up when not in use, and like most of Zeon's atmospheric aircrafts, use thermonuclear engines to create thrust instead of using aerodynamics. It is equipped with 3 twin machine guns, and these will also be used by Zeon remnants in UC-0096. It is a Zeon soldier Tachi who provides Hammond with the Magella attack tanks. Tachi notes that Zeon is willing to send great men like Ral to die as pawns while the Zabi family continues their squabbles. Zeon will lose this war, and he is ready to help Hammond take down White Base on a suicide mission. A bombing run begins on the outskirts of Cusco. EFF is using the Deprog. The Deprog is a heavy bomber and one of the largest bombers deployed during the 1-year war. Despite being a bomber, this unit is really fast. However, this unit is usually accompanied by the Toreadis or the Flymanta. They can have a crew of 2 pilots, a navigator, a bombardier, 3 gunners. Besides bombs, it is equipped with a laser gun and anti-air missiles. Amuro goes on standby in the Gundam. White Base and the Medea team head out towards Jaburo. Bright's spirits are very high now that he knows that EFF hasn't abandoned them. Meanwhile, Romeo is informed that White Base is leaving Cusco and are close to where the Black Tri-Stars are running training exercises. He blames Makuve for bringing them into the fold. The Black Tri-Stars are training using their new mobile suits when Haman's Gallop comes rushing past them. They note that the ship is moving fast and doesn't have an ID. The Medea fleet and White Base split up. As White Base descends, the Fat Uncle comes in above them. They can't shoot it down currently, so they have to land, try to hide out. As they find a place to touch down, Sayla gets a weird sensation. That is when Hammond's team begins firing on White Base. Ryu gets out of the medbay. Sun Malo, the medic, tries to get him to rest, but Ryu threatens to make him a patient if he doesn't get out of the way. He lies to Omer and takes out the core fighter. Kai heads out in the new makeshift Cannon Zaku Frankenstein. He is able to take out some Magella attack tanks, but he is no match for a Zaku 1. Danny and Hayato in the gun tank comes in and takes out the Zaku, killing Tachi. Amuro launches to find the Gallop, heading directly on a ramming course for White Base. All the mobile suits try to stop it. As they stop the Gallop, Hammond comes in with the Magella top and begins taking out the mobile suits. She points her cannon at the back of the Gundam and blames Amuro for Rao's death. That is when Ryu comes in and kamikazes with Haman. In the anime, Amuro and the Gundam stop the Gallop, but here it is a team effort. Amuro wonders who was in the core fighter, and Sayla tells him it was Ryu. The team mourns the death of Ryu. Both Sun Malo and Omer blame themselves as they had the opportunity to stop him, but Bright blames himself for being a bad commander. Unlike the show, which treats this as a somber moment and kind of a moment that brings the crew together, this is the moment that tears them further apart. Amuro begins fighting with Hayato, and the children begin crying. Since White Base didn't reach the checkpoint, Matilda comes looking for them. She says to get the ship up and running, and Bright says it'll be up by dawn. Matilda tells them that they probably have 1 hour before Zeon finds them. While scouting, Amuro and Jabjon notices something moving. They are suddenly attacked. It is the Black Tri-Stars. One of the Doms takes out Jabjon's gun cannon legs. Hayato and Danny in the gun tank rush in, but are destroyed instantly. They are able to eject. Amuro is on the defensive. He runs away as the Doms chase. Like in the anime, the 4 engage in battle and Amuro is able to kill Mash. That is when Matilda's Medea comes in and shoves Ortega off the cliff. He smashes the Medea and kills Lieutenant Matilda in the process. The Black Tri-Stars have become the Black Duo Stars. White Base finally takes off. Everyone salutes and gives a moment of silence for Lieutenant Matilda. Amuro cries for her. He will never have a boner again. The White Base crew has finally made it to the Amazon basin. They are so close to Jaburo. A message finally comes in guiding the ship to one of the hidden Jaburo entrances. A secret entrance opens up revealing the underground headquarters. EFF soldiers welcomes the secret ship. Everyone is just really happy to get off. Look, they are all running off with their hands up. That is the face of someone who feels free. I imagine that is how sailors act when out in sea for months. Bright meets with Lieutenant Woody. He tells Bright that White Base did so well in the field that they plan on making more Pegasus-class ships. He introduces Amuro to the lieutenant, who is taken aback by the fact that he is a kid. Woody mentions that Lieutenant Matilda told him all about Amuro. I guess everything except for the fact that he's a kid? On White Base, scientists gather together to discuss Amuro's new type potential. It eventually devolves into everyone complaining about Zeon being ahead of the game when it comes to new types, thanks to the Flanagan Institute. They mention that the top brass at EFF still don't understand or believe in new types, and therefore have no interest in investing time and money into research. It has been a nightmare for some of the scientists to get anything done. Amuro goes to talk to the scientists. Like the anime, Bright is allowed to remain captain of White Base, and they want Mirai to enlist. She has no interest, however. They try to emotionally manipulate her by bringing up what a great man her father, Shu Yashima, was to EFF, and she too can bring great glory. She isn't having any of it, however, at least until she changes her mind tomorrow. Shu Yashima died before the war broke out. He was the CEO of the Yashima Company and did a great deal of diplomacy with the Principality of Zeon. The Yashima Company is responsible for leading in colony construction and was the owner of the failed resort colony, Texas Colony. On the surface, Zeon is doing a bombing run with Gaus. While driving through Jaburo, Mirai tells Bright that she has a fiancé, and Bright suddenly says that he is quite the lucky guy. The scientists put Amuro in some kind of fMRI. While asleep, his mother, Lieutenant Matilda, and even Ryu Jose haunts his memories. They are certain that new types have enhanced senses, but they theorize precognition may be a possibility. Amuro goes to see Lieutenant Woody, who is overseeing the refit on White Base. He tells Amuro that they are thickening the armor and increasing the engine output to 50%. They are also adding twin beam cannons all over the ship. Lieutenant Woody and Amuro talk about how he and Matilda were supposed to get married, just like in the anime. He yells at him and tells him that he ain't that important. This is war, boy. Later on, everyone seems to accept appointment within EFF's ranks. Mirai did a 360 real quick. Amuro and Mirai are given the rank of warrant officer. Posthumously, Ryu Jose was promoted to second lieutenant. This makes Amuro mad, and he demands to know why it isn't a higher rank. Like in the show, the commanding officer hits him. They're given rooms. Frau Bo tends to Amuro's wounds. From the view out of the room, they could see a Pegasus-class ship at the docks. Frau wonders if it is White Base, but she says it is the 7th Pegasus-class ship, the Albion. Of course, we will see the Albion in action during UC-0083. Also, the Comic Walker digital release refers to the Albion as the Albatross. Interesting. Sayla notices that Amuro was given drugs by the scientists that have been conducting tests on him. Sayla wonders what they are doing to him. She decides to pour out his drugs and tells him he doesn't have to listen to them if he doesn't want to. She doesn't want EFF to walk all over him. The next day, White Base crew meets with General Revel for the first time. During this time, the children who were supposed to be at the nursery comes rushing in, causes chaos. Hato goes right into General Revel's face along with Frau Bo. Bright is very embarrassed. Traveling along the Amazon is Char and his team. A few AT guys are scouting underneath the river looking for some kind of entrance to Jaburo. Char is meeting with the Amazonian tribe elders. He's trying to get them to help them break into Jaburo. In exchange, they will leave the planet and they will make EFF leave the Amazon, leaving just the local tribes of the area. The leaders ask about Zeon Zum Daikun and the ideals of Kuntolism. He asks if they will force his tribesmen into space. Char tells him that Kuntolism doesn't apply to his people. It applies to those who choose to live a life of polluting the planet rather than living with the planet. He says that the tribe will be allowed to live in harmony with nature and be the true rulers of the Amazon. They agree to work with him. He brings in the Zagax and AT guys. Amuro is running a simulation testing the new core block system eject features. He believes that their simulation is designed for space and that it is slightly off for use in gravity. They tell him it will be 2 weeks before the core block changes will be complete. Amuro is getting antsy that he can't get into the Gundam for a while. Meanwhile, Char and his team finally find an entrance point to the base. Garcia Romeo is informed of Char's whereabouts. He is informed that on the night of the full moon, they will make their attack. He realizes that Char got the upper hand on him. Like in the anime, Kika-Let's and Cats are in the nursery when they get into a fight with one of the kids, and they decide to run away once again. They run off into the depths of White Base where Char's red-nosed team happens to be sneaking around. The kids don't notice that Zeon is right under their noses. Red noses? Ha. They continue sneaking around until they find the new GMs in the hangar. Char's red-nosed team moves out. I wonder why it's called red-nosed team. They notice these units are different from the Gundam. They wonder if Amuro knows about these new units. That is when Zeon, Red-Nosed team, surrounds the kids. Garcia is prepping his fleet to move out and attack Jaburo. He is more concerned with making M'Quve look bad than winning the war. The Zeon team feels bad, but the kids saw him, so I guess they have to die. They leave them to blow up with the bombs they planted. Luckily, the kids are able to break free. They all begin collecting the bombs quickly. Amuro meets Kai, who is trying to pull rank, when the kids come rushing by in a lift. They tell Amuro about the bombs. Like in the anime, Amuro saves the kids and drives the construction lift off a construction site. While this is all going down, the Red-Nosed team sneaks into the control center of Jaburo and starts killing soldiers. They open up the entrances to the base while Garcia begins a bombing run. All hell breaks loose at HQ. Garcia launches Zaku's along with the mobile fortress, the Adsum, with Garcia commanding from the fortress. We saw Kycilia and M'Quve pilot the fortress originally in the anime. General Revel is informed of the situation. He sends out the GMs. One of the GM teams happens to be the Slegger team ran by Lieutenant Slegger Law. The Red-Nosed team makes it back to inform Char of the situation. When a GM comes in and takes him out, Char recognizes the situation and decides to move in with the Zagak commander type. The Gundam is still under repairs. Amuro finds some poor sucker's GM and takes it right when he gets there. Poor guy. It's probably his first battle, too. General Revel is setting up a decoy for Garcia's fleet to run into. As the Zakus make their way into the base, the GMs attack. This is the first time that a Zaku pilot has ever seen a GM, so they think it is a squad of Gundams. Zeon is starting to get overwhelmed. Garcia and the Adsum breaks through the base, running right into Revel's trap. They lured the team into the area under construction and blow it up, causing the entire sector of the base to cave in. This buries Rear Admiral Garcia along with hundreds of Zakus. The remaining Zakus are being torn apart by the GMs. They realize it isn't the Gundam, but it is too late for them. Another attack is happening at the hangars. Luckily, Amuro suspected that they would attack White Base. One GM goes out on his own and is destroyed by Char. Char's theme intensifies. Womp, 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 ba-da-ba-da-doo. Amuro instantly recognizes that it is Char. Char is fast. Amuro tries to shoot him with his rifle, but the beam spray gun is mid to short ranged, and he isn't able to get a hit on the Zagak. He drops the gun and pulls out the beam saber. The two engage in battle. The system and the GM is exactly the same as the Gundam, but it is reacting too slow. He tosses the shield to gain more mobility. As they continue their fight, Lieutenant Woody comes in, piloting a fan-fan. In our coverage of the anime, I referred to this as a hovercraft. There was once a time when I didn't know every obscure EFF vehicle. Ignorance sometimes is bliss. Anyways, the fan-fan is a hovercraft mainly used within the base. The left and right fans allow it to hover freely even when it's on uneven terrain. It also is equipped with radio-guided missiles. It has 2 seats that can be piloted by just one person. Besides the 5-tube guided missile pods, it also has 4 7.7mm miniguns. Lieutenant Woody rushes in to attack Char. He says that he will protect White Base, the ship that Lieutenant Matilda sacrificed her life for. Amuro goes in to help him, but he is too late. Char tears through the fan-fan, killing Lieutenant Woody. Amuro takes out the Zagak's arm, destroying the balancer. Char decides to make his retreat. On foot is Sayla, who goes to the spot where the children found the Yak guys. She goes down to find Char waiting for her. He tells her to never board White Base again. This revelation comes later in the anime when the two actually meet on Texas Colony. Midai comes to scare off Char. Everyone clears out what remains in the base. Zeon's attempt to take Jaburo and White Base was a failure. Bright thanks Lieutenant Woody for giving his life to protect the ship. Bright and the rest of the crew agree that since the death of Lieutenant Matilda, Woody had more of an attachment to White Base than the crew. Mirai says that men can actually get sentimental. We get a funny panel with Bright looking over at Kai asking, "Do we?" Of course, he has no clue. Amuro tells the crew that Char has returned. He isn't entirely sure. He just assumes based off of the mobile suit's movements. Of course, Sayla already knows about this. Kai throws a paper airplane. It happens to land in front of Lieutenant Slegger Law and his crew. His crew consists of Master Sergeant Atur Borbosh, Sergeant Michael Rodrigo, who goes by Mitch, and Corporal Wong Chang. Mirai just learned about these men being transferred to the ship. Slegger looks at Mirai and goes, "Damn girl, my luck is turning around." Mirai refuses to shake his hand. He meets with Amuro, and like in the anime, he tells Sayla that she has a man on her mind. Of course, the man in question is her brother, just like most of the porn on the internet these days. What is wrong with you people? We flash back to UC 0068, Side 3, the Autonomous Republic of Munzo. While giving an anti-Federation speech to the people, Zeon Zoom Daikum collapses. Artesia and Cassaval are informed by their caretakers that their dad has fallen ill. Like in the anime, Artesia goes to find that her dad has passed away. As the people in the streets protest autonomy, the Federation unleashes the gun tank early type on the masses. The RTX-65 gun tank early type was made by Anaheim Electronics and used by Earth Federation starting in UC 0065. These are greatly superior to the Type 61 tanks, which was first used in UC 0061. It has 2 large caliber cannons on its shoulder and 2 forward-tube autocannons as manipulator arms, which can be used for anti-ground and anti-air purposes. These units are mainly used to maintain public order in the colonies. It also makes sense considering in UC 0079 and Origin, the gun tank is an established military weapon already. However, it kind of breaks things, which is why it isn't technically canon, but it's best just not to think about it. Degwin informs Estrella that Zeon died of a heart attack during his speech, and that he asked Degwin to take over his affairs. Jimba Ral wants to talk to the Daikum family alone. He is the father of Ramba Ral and good family friend to the Daikums. The news leaked information regarding Zeon's death. Sasuro Zabi seems to be in control of the media on Side 3. Jimba believes that the Zabi family assassinated Zeon. Jimba's son, Ramba, helps them escape to the Ral estate and hide out. The masses outside are revolting due to Zeon's death. Like in the anime, Ramba's convoy takes off and is soon overwhelmed by the rioting masses. That is when Caecilia comes in on horseback and helps clear the people. Back at the Zabi mansion, Sasuro yells and slaps Caecilia for letting the Zabi family go. Sasuro worked hard and probably spent a lot of money to manipulate the media just for her to let people who could tell the truth go. They have to keep an eye on the Ral family now. This is how the Ral family will be ousted by the Zabis. Later, they have a funeral for Zeon Zoom Daikum. During a procession following the funeral, Sasuro thinks that Dozul is too soft. Suddenly, the car carrying Sasuro and Dozul explodes. Dozul gets out of the car, face bloodied, yelling that someone killed his brother. This is where Dozul's scars come from. Dude just took a bomb to the face. His men try to calm down Dozul as everyone looks on in shock. The papers will go on to suspect the Ral family having involvement in Sasuro's assassination. Jimba and Ral argue with one another. Jimba thinks that the Zabis killed their own son and put blame on them to take away attentions from the Zabi's death. They are informed that rioters are outside their gates and getting out of hand. Artesia is sad that they left Lucifer at home, and Ramba goes on a mission to retrieve the cat. The city begins falling into anarchy. The Zabis watch on as this is exactly what they wanted. Of course, they will eventually restore order under their name now that Zeon is dead and the Ral family has been tarnished. However, Degwin tries to teach his kids that there are levels to politics, and showing reserve and a way of redemption can be beneficial. Dozul notes that he does think Ramba is a good guy and makes a great soldier. Too bad these lessons of redemption aren't something that Giran took seriously, but there are moments like this that show that Degwin tried with his kids. A stinky bum wanders into the back entrance of a cabaret club. It happens to be Ramba Ral. He meets with the club's singer, Crowley Hammond. He removes his disguise to show that he has cat scratches all over him. Ral asks Haman if she could smuggle Artesia and Cassaval off of Side 3. He beats around the bush about who it could be, but she already knows. She says she can make it happen. Back at the Ral house, Caecilia comes over and gets really hands-on with a little kid. Hey guys, in the original series, Caecilia knew Char was Cassaval. Should we put a scene to show that she knew this somehow? Yeah, whatever. Just throw a scene in there that shows her getting really touchy with a kid. You're a genius, boss. Caecilia goes to tell Giran that she met Cassaval and they may be in trouble in the future. Giran bluntly tells her to stay out of it and that he has a plan to handle the Daikum family. Estrella and the kids go to meet with Rosalucia Daikum. Remember that Estrella is Zeon's concubine and not her legal wife. That is Rosalucia, and as his legal wife, she has full control over his estate. Estrella will be forced to live within the estate, never being able to leave the grounds. She will essentially be a prisoner within Side 3 forever. Rosalucia is bitter about not being able to bear children for Zeon, and she takes out all of her frustration on Estrella. It is not said out loud, but it is clear that Cassaval and Artesia are going to be taken away from her and will most likely be killed. Ramba meets with Crowley Hammond to find out that they only have one day before before the children are taken and that now is the time to move. He leaves it in the hands of Hammond. Ramba also plans to get Jimba to Earth as well. His dad is hiding out waiting to fight for his life, but Ramba informs him of the plan to leave. Later that night, Estrella informs the children of the plan as well. Of course, Artesia doesn't want to leave without her mother. She gets Artesia to go to sleep for the night by telling her about all the things she could do when she is on Earth. At the break of dawn, Crowley Hammond comes rushing towards the estate in a gun tank early type. She pretends that she is a part of EFF and that she is here to arrest the children. She takes the kids as they say farewell to their mother. A Republic officer contacts EFF to find out that this is a rogue act. The pilots of the gun tank realize that they are in over their head and they try to alter the deal with Hammond, but she just knees one guy in the nuts and forces the other to pilot and listen to all of her commands. Ramba helps by getting his men to close off roads, making it harder for EFF and the Zabis to catch them. Did you ever want to see a 24-year-old that looks like a 50-year-old naked? Well, you get to in this manga. Also, I believe Kycilia was born in UC0055, making her 13 in UC0068. Luckily, this isn't canon. Those boobs most certainly are canon, though. Ramba pretends that he has a flat tire, while others are closing down streets for construction, making it harder for Kycilia to get around. She is starting to realize that Ramba is up to something. Hammond's gun tank goes up against 4 enemy gun tanks. That is when Casseval gets into the turret gunner's seat. He gets his first taste of blood. They put the gun tank on autopilot and bail. Dozo Zabi comes in to help take out the gun tanks when his stitches on his face break. He calls Girin, who tells him to do nothing. Dozel is tired of hearing this and fires on the abandoned gun tank. The kids and Jimba make it to the cargo terminal and stow away in a cargo crate. Kycilia comes in and begins questioning Ramba and Crowley Hammond. As they take off, the two leave the crate and look out of the window. They see the colony, and Artesia realizes that her whole world existed in that space pod. They then look out to see Earth rise over the moon. We cut to the future where Artesia is helping out people in a refugee camp. She returns back to meet with her adopted father, Tiabolo Mas, who took in the 2 kids when they made it to Earth. Tiabolo took in the kids and made them a part of his family. Algiers and Marrakesh are destroyed, and refugees are at an all-time high. Artesia, now going by Sayla Mas, helps out the refugees whenever she can. Meanwhile, Jimba Ral is giving Casseval, now going by Edward Mas, lessons on Daikum and his teachings. He is trying to tell Casseval the concept of new types, but he isn't really paying attention. He is raging that the Zabis would dare take the Zeon name and use it for their own doing. After some G-men come by the house and the refugee camp, Tiabolo has a conversation with Jimba Ral. He demands to know if he is planning some kind of revolution. Jimba says that they may have support of that Anaheim company, and perhaps they can make it happen. One thing that Tiabolo makes clear is that he needs to keep the children out of it. If they want to join his cause when they are older, then they could do so. Sayla is sick. Edward is watching over her. That night, assassins come bursting into the estate. They take out some of the guards. One assassin hides in a suit of armor and begins attacking Tiabolo. He backs himself into a corner and falls out of the window. The suit of armor goes to find Jimba Ral and kills him with the sword. Edward and Sayla run off. He finds a sword for himself and begins attacking the suit of armor. Edward drives the sword through the armor's helmet, killing the assassin. The police arrive at the Mass estate. They comment that it looks more like a war than a burglary. A man comes to the estate. The police tell him to go away, but it is Shu Yashima of the Yashima Company. Accompanying him is a young Mirai Yashima. They visit Tiabolo Mas, who is seriously injured from falling out a window. He realized that he got complacent in the past 3 years and never expected an attack from the Zabis. This is because Jimba contacted the Anaheim Company. He realizes that he can't keep Sayla and Edward safe anymore. Shu suggests that they move to Loum. On side 5, Shu bought a colony called Texas Colony. It was originally going to be a Westworld colony for rich people before the bubble popped and business fell apart. That is when Shu Yashima came in and bought it up in an auction and revived the colony. Being at side 5 will be seen as an act of submission by the Zabis. Side 5 is the closest to side 3, so it will be easier for them to monitor Tiabolo. Considering he wants nothing to do with the war, this is his best move. Shu also wants nothing to do with the war. He is surviving off of the private sector and will soon be building Side 7, which is home to most of the White Base crew. He introduces his daughter, Mirai. Mirai means future in Japanese. Tiabolo says that he hopes she has a bright future. Wait a minute, bright? Future?
Oh my god!
I just put 2 and 2 together. Mind blown. As they leave, Mirai looks up to see Edward and Sayla. On side 3, Kycilia tells Girin that Degwin is waiting. He says that it was her that killed Ramba Ral. He suggests next time she takes the lead and command the troops on the ground herself. They all come to attention at the sight of Degwin. Dozel is on his own mission. Elsewhere, Hammond Crowley is getting down on that sweet jazz. Ramba is getting drunk knowing his father has been killed. As he enjoys Crowley's voice, some EFF occupiers come in demanding karaoke. Ramba takes out his anger on the EFF soldiers. A massive fight breaks out that is only broken up when Dozel walks into the bar. He wonders why the head of a house is fooling around with Fetty lowlifes. Ramba says that the Zabis killed his family. Crowley holds him back from fighting Dozel. He has come to ask of a favor. He takes Ramba Ral and Crowley to Side 3 Colony Extra Bunch, aka the Dark Colony. Who the hell calls a colony Extra Bunch? This is a secret R&D colony. They run into Ortega of the Black Tri-Stars. Ramba calls him Sergeant, but he is no longer an NCO. He has finally become a warrant officer. They all watch on as Ortega pilots the Mobile Worker Model 1. The Mobile Worker NW01 Model 1 Early Type is the first attempt at a military-based mobile suit. It has a shield and a claw arm, and it stands at 16.1 meters tall. It also has a top speed of 80 kilometers per hour. As we will see in a moment, it is capable of taking out a gun tank Early Type. They also built a replica of the gun tank Early Type. It technically isn't the real thing and is built off of the data Zeon gathered. The gun tank fires its Vulcans on the mobile workers. It uses its shield to absorb the attack. He pushes forward. Ortega begins picking up speed. He is able to dodge an attack from the cannon and strike with the articulating arm, destroying the gun tank. The Mass family is making their journey to Texas Colony on Side 5. While in the spaceport, Sayla notices a young Amuro Ray who is with his father, pestering him about being alive. Aw, poor baby Amuro. Meanwhile, on Side 3, Crowley Hammond meets up with Estrella, who is still being held up in the tower on the Daikun property. She just finds out that Rosa Lucia died of a heart attack. She never leaves the tower. She asks about the club. Remember, like Crowley, Estrella was a singer at the club. She says that she misses it. Crowley started hanging out at the club pretending to be 18, but everyone knew she wasn't. That is where Estrella met Zeon. He came in one day tired. Even after learning he was a political activist, all she wanted to do was take care of him. She says she wishes she could have just one more night with her children. Ramba Ral and Nash of the Black Tri-Stars are testing out the Mobile Worker Model 1 Late Type. These units have long cords extending the units, so they haven't completely figured out the internal power yet. Ramba Ral wins this round. He complains about Mash trying to kill him. He tells Dozel that the cockpit is dangerous and the manipulator arms are slow. They are adding important test data for future models, but there is nothing they could do about the cockpit for a while, as this is just a lunar excavator cockpit. Ral goes limping into the club, where Crowley comforts him. They have a conversation about working for the Zabis, but Crowley says that Dozel is different from Caecilia and Girin. She tells him about Cassaville and Artesia being taken to Loum. She also says that Estrella is most likely going to die soon. Meanwhile, on Texas Colony, the Mass family meets with Roger Aznable, the chief of the colony. They get the family set up in their new home. Like the anime, we get a moment of Edward and Sayla riding on horses. He takes off and leaves Sayla in the dust. But she is met with a man that looks exactly like her brother, but with red eyes. He introduces himself to Sayla as Char Aznable. He teaches Sayla how to properly use the reins. As he teaches her how to ride, Edward approaches the two. They give each other a high five. Later, Sayla writes a letter to her mother. She tells her about the new guy, Char. That is when Edward bursts into the room in anger. He informs Sayla that their mother has passed away. She cries out in pain. Later, some boys pick on her, but she gives her a classic Sayla slap. They later go into town. During the past few issues, Edward has been paranoid about people watching him. We are seeing that paranoia here as well. Tiabello goes to talk to the schoolmaster, where they tell him that they cannot teach Eduardo, and they all seem to fear him. He is cold, he is intelligent, and he is very calculating. Tiabello is upset and talks with Roger. They are all concerned that there is an anger inside of him since the death of his mother. He wonders if he should go to the same school as Char, but Roger informs him that Char is about to transfer to Munzo, which is now called Zoom City, to join the military academy. Roger never believed his son would become a military man. Edward notices a man spying on them and begins picking a fight. It is Texas colony, so it becomes a literal standoff. But Sayla comes out and stops him from fighting. Later, Char comes to visit and informs Sayla that he got into the military academy. He came to say goodbye. Sayla leaves Lucifer, who is feeling sick. They all have dinner where Char talks about how hard it is to get into the military academy. He talks about it being the age of Zeon and how Daikum's ideals are spreading, not knowing he is talking to Daikum's offspring. After dinner, Sayla returns to her room to find that Lucifer has passed away. Sayla mourns Lucifer's death when Edward comes in informing her that he is leaving to go to school on Side 3. He says they won't see each other for some time and takes his leave. Sayla runs after him as she is tired of people leaving her. Char and Edward are in a big city in Loum waiting for a shuttle to take them to Side 3. Char is a little confused why Edward came with him. He can't get into the academy and things are very competitive on Zoom City. Edward simply says that he will find his own path. Meanwhile, on Zoom City, Kycelia is informed that Casval is trying to make his leave off of the colony. She realizes he is trying to get to Side 3. She tells her men to kill him. Kycelia says he could have lived longer if he chose to stay on Side 5. On Texas colony, Sayla and Roger go to find Edward. He left without telling Tiabolo. Sayla tells Roger that Edward went to Zeon and plans on avenging their mother. The two make it to the spaceport. As they go through security, Edward notices that there are once again people watching them. They are stopped by security. Char has an antique gun, which is preventing him from boarding the flight. He doesn't want to miss the flight or he will be late for his first day at the academy. The two go to the restroom and they switch clothes. Char is now Edward and Edward is now Char. This will allow Char to get on the flight looking like Edward while he takes the next flight to Zoom City. This works and Char is able to get on the flight. The people spying on Edward go forth with their plan. Roger and Sayla tried to head to the spaceport to find Edward, but it is too late. Edward, pretending to be Char, had the gun confiscated and will be able to take the next flight out to Side 3. Meanwhile, Char seems happy to start his new life on Side 3. That is when he realizes that he doesn't have his acceptance papers. While he has a freakout, the shuttle explodes, killing everyone on board. As Edward is in the spaceport, he looks at the news to see information about the downed shuttle. The news shows that Edward Mass is dead. Edward is now Char. At the military academy, Girin gives a speech to all the new recruits. All the Zabis are present along with General Revel representing EFF. Dozel Zabi also gives a speech as the new dean of the academy. They do a roll call. When Char's name is called, Kycelia looks suspiciously at him. Representing this year's class is Garma Zabi. He approaches the podium and seeks... don't do that, Garma. Wait, is that how this chapter ends? Are we really ending on this awkward moment? Okay, I guess. Char kills it on the track, he kills it on the courts, and he kills it in the classroom. Of course, Garma notes that he is showing off. He threatens one of his cronies with the stare of death before apologizing and walking off. The cadets are training at the shooting range. Char hits a few in the 10 ring and never hits outside of the 8 ring, it looks like. Meanwhile, Garma is missing the target. Dozel is looking over Garma's grades. He has excellent grades, but is relatively average in the field. Char, however, is accelerating. He gets a call informing him that Girin is going to visit the mobile worker testing facility. He sees that the mobile workers are still struggling to have a feasible power source. So he decides to cancel the mobile suit program. But that is when Dr. Minovsky talks to him and pitches him on the idea of using Minovsky particles to help in the miniaturization of the fusion reactor. He also explains the need for an active mass balance auto control or AMBAC system, which will eliminate the need for traditional fuel injection systems. He informs them that Minovsky particles disrupt electromagnetic waves, which can destroy modern radar systems. That alone is a game changer. Girin is intrigued. He gives them 1 year to make this happen. At the academy, the cadets must run 50 kilometers carrying 30 kilograms on their back. They have a day to make it happen. As the cadets head out, the weather begins to become gloomy and begins raining. They have 20 kilometers to go, but they have to wait outside the rain. Char is nice and dry under the rocks. He tells Garma to stop being a spoiled baby and to stay dry under the rocks as well. He takes off in the rain, but he ends up falling down the cliff and breaking his leg. Char goes to help him. He says he is a disgrace to the Zabis. Perhaps Char will never get another chance. Perhaps he will kill Garma here. No, he must be patient. He pitches a tent and tends to his leg. Back at base camp, all but Char and Garma have made it back. Dozel is informed of the situation and demands that they find them. Base camp eventually spots the two cadets as they limp back. Later, Char gets out of the shower. It was only a matter of time, I knew it. He is informed that his roommate is moving out and Garma will be moving in. Char says that he really is a spoiled child, but perhaps he is a scion. Rather than kill him, he takes it the other way. Char is going to boost this Nepo baby's ego to the fullest. If you notice, there is no side plot here. headgear with Lino Fernandez, finding out that Char is Cassavol. The cadets endure 3 years of training. Like the anime, we see the cadets graduate to become reserve soldiers. During a briefing with EFF, Char asks a question. He essentially cuts to the chase. What happens when the needs of the Space Noids and the needs of EFF conflict? Annoyed by this, the EFF officer asks about his shades. He tells him most people can't handle how sexy his eyes are. He slaps off his shades. Char was right. It was too sexy for him to handle. Char was able to cause the officer to overreach in his power. This now causes unrest amongst the cadets turned soldiers. Garma recommends that he picks up his glasses and apologizes. Sayla returns to Texas Colony after being away for some years as well. Roger Aznable gives her a ride. She is excited to go to medical school. She asks about Char, but Roger mentions that he doesn't stay in contact or ever visits. Roger says that Tia Bolo is as well as he can be with that body. I mean, at that point, just call him fat. Sayla goes to visit the graves of her 3 lost family members. Her mother, Edward, and Lucifer. However, she still doesn't feel that Edward is gone. The scores are in. Garma is the top of the class with Char in a close second. Back at the dorms, Garma informs Char of their grades, but he is more concerned with the potential meteor on its way. If it weren't for what everyone is calling the Visor incident, Char would be in first place. He wonders if Char did this on purpose. Char laughs menacingly. Dozel briefs the graduating class about their new roles as training personnel. Char and Garma's buttholes are tight as they hoped someone took care of the meteor. It turns out that the small celestial bodies monitoring center on the moon did indeed miss the meteor. The 30-ton meteor made of ice hits Zoom City. Garma and Char are on the cleanup crew outside of the colony. An EFF ship passes and doesn't accept their non-EFF communication codes. It happens to be a Pegasus-class ship. It's currently UC-0077, so Pegasus being here kind of breaks things, but whatever. The people of Zeon desire independence more than ever. The Diet is tired of raising food prices while demanding more export on their own produce. One man in the Diet chamber yells, "We need not send them a single sack of grain." This line would apparently go on to inspire Zack Snyder to make a few bad films about grain. Degwon believes that an all-out space war would be devastating and not in the interest of Zeon Daikum. But Giran believes that it is the people that desire this. It is only because Giran spent the last decade spreading propaganda to the people and stirring the pot. He doesn't want war to break out. Char speaks with Garma. He wants Garma to lead an attack on the Fetty barracks. He tells Garma that he may be the head of the Zabi house soon, and now is the time to take action. They will also have to handle Dozel. They plan on doing this by inciting a mob. When one has small numbers, one must be more creative. Mobs soon become armies, but mobs are confusing and helpless, unlike armies. They have to strike while the confusion is high. This could be achieved with multiple groups flanking instead of using a single push. They prepare to strike. Garma is struggling to clip his vest. Char goes, "Hey, let me get that for you." Oh my. Murata, Char's old roommate, gives him a gift. It is tactical glasses, so they won't fall off in battle. It happens to be his iconic headgear. This was given by Lino Fernandez in the OVA. They bring in Zena, who plans on being Dozel's distraction during the operation. Char heads in with the first team while Garma leads the main squad. He gives a speech about protecting Space Noids first and foremost and riles the people up. Zena heads to Dozel Zabi's chambers and asks for his time. He is confused why she is here. Zena says, "Chill dude, let's just hang out for like 10, maybe 9 more seconds or so." Dozel looks out the window to see Garma and the squad taking off. Zena pulls a gun on him. She tells him that Garma is the one who planned this. Dozel thinks this whole situation is hot. But why? Char's team commences their operation and begins attacking. Garma begins pushing in. Murata is the first of the team to go down. "No, not Murata. You served your one purpose and died." Char is able to break in and find the commander. He recommends to him that they surrender. That is when Dozel's team comes rushing in, calling a ceasefire. Dozel hugs Garma while calling him an idiot. The Zabis argue with General Revel and EFF for how they will handle the situation. General Revel literally goes, "You should kill yourself, bro." I mean, he does it in like a Japanese honorable way, but still. They want Dozel to take the fall for it. Degwon takes a more cordial approach and ensures that someone within their team is punished for the situation. However, he will only do so if EFF leaves Side 3. Degwon yells at Dozel for his incompetence. Afterwards, Degwon talks with Garma. He is sad that he is heading down the path of his siblings. He wished that Garma became a scholar instead. The two confide in one another. You could certainly tell that their familial bond actually is genuine, unlike the other Zabis. Dozel voids Char's time at the academy and demotes him from warrant officer to NCO recruit. He's dismissed unless called into action. He says should he be called into action again, he would like to be a part of the mobile suit team he is building. He notes his interest. After Char is dismissed, he calls for Xena. He tells her that her actions during the incident was the biggest turn-on of his life and would very much like to put a baby inside her. She says, "Take me, senpai." Meanwhile, on Brazil, Earth. You don't know, there could be a Brazil on side 2. Who knows? Tim Ray is meeting with Gop and his associates. Tim used to do work for the Yashima Corporation, but their interests changed once Shu Yashima pulled his business out of war. They show Tim a film from A Baoa Qu. They don't even have this sector of space mapped, and they only recently found out that it is an asteroid used for mining purposes. The video shows footage of the Bugu. The MS-4 Bugu is the second attempt at miniaturizing the fusion reactor. The first attempt was the Waft, but the battle data went on to create this new unit. These were made with a basic steel alloy and are all bespoke. No thought of mass production went into these units and were very expensive. It has a machine gun taken from Yashima Heavy Industrial. It also has a heat hawk and a shield. Tim realizes that if this machine is built, then Dr. Minovsky has cracked the Minovsky particle. The video shows the Bugu destroying a cargo vessel with ease. Tim Ray says that this will change how war is fought. It seems Minovsky believes the same thing, which is why Gop is putting him in charge of a new project. Tim says they will need space. Gop says they will build a new colony if they have to. The spaceports are packed as people are leaving Zeon before things get crazy. Char is also taking his leave towards Earth. Tim heads home to yell at Amuro and tells him to put some pants on. He also informs them that they may be going back into space soon. Manaus, the Amazonas state capital in Brazil, a city of depravity and gambling. On the Amazon River that flows through the city, a man named the Gambler steals himself a young girl. Somewhere else in the Amazon, Char is working in construction as a mobile worker. They happen to be building Jaburo. Did you need the answer to how Char knew how to get into Jaburo? Yeah, me neither. His coworkers wonder where he learned to work on mobile workers so well. He tells them that he used to work for Zeonic, but they fired him because he was born on Earth. As they leave work, Char sees many of the locals protesting the construction of the military base. They head out to the casinos for the night, where his boss loses all his money. That is when the Gambler comes in with Lala. She uses her new type powers to cheat at gambling. He wins, but during the last hand, she gets it wrong, and they lose. The next day, he finds Lala and asks her, "Well, I was going to say boss, but let's be honest, he is more like her owner." Hit her for losing. She blames it on the dealer. The Gambler begins yelling at Lala and tries to attack her again, but Char stops him. He says that he should focus on the Manaus mob currently taking his ship. The mob ends up blowing up his boat, and they all escape. The Gambler and Lala hide out in the construction yard when a man named Aga comes in looking for the Gambler. The mob is paying him more, so he is no longer working for the Gambler. Aga uses his razor boomerang to kill the man. Char stabs the man with a shovel before he also gets a razor boomerang to the face. Local police force come in demanding they hand over the Indian girl. Char and Lala run for the mobile worker and get in. Char was able to sense the attack before it happened and wonders if Lala had anything to do with it. She didn't, and this suggests that Char had a new type moment. UC-0078, Granada. Dr. Manaski has made his leave from Side 3 and is looking to defect. The EFF Moneymen, mainly Anaheim, are talking about Zeonic taking their tech and their engineers. They believe that the RX-77 that they built will be superior to Zeon's MS-05. But Tim Ray doesn't believe any of this. He believes that if Zeon moved from the MS-04 to the MS-05, then they have moved past the need for Dr. Minovsky, and thus Zeon is far ahead of them. Even though he built it, he doesn't believe the RX-77 is good enough. Tim Ray says that if the rumors about Dr. Minovsky defecting are true, then they need to get their hands on him. Tim looks up the RX-77 gun cannon and believes that he can make something on par with Dr. Minovsky. On the dark side of the moon, a Bugu is commanding a team of 3 Zakus. The MS-05, Zaku 1, the origin version, is a product of making a cheaper mass-produced version of the Bugu. The Bugu's liquid cooling is on the outside of the mobile suit to help with overheating, but the Zaku 1 decided to place the cooling inside of the frame. Of course, this was a bad move and would later be moved on the outside when the Zaku 2 is produced. The head includes the iconic Mono Eye, and it is equipped with the 2-thruster backpack. Other weapons include a machine gun, a heat hawk, various prototype bazookas, the L-shaped shield, and a prototype anti-spaceship gun. All prototypes will eventually be consolidated into the standard 120mm machine gun. Char's version of the mobile suit is equipped with 2 main thrusters and 2 auxiliary vernier thrusters. Ramba Ral is in the Bugu, in the black tri-star TriStars are in the Zaku 1s. They are mad about a certain red mobile suit, as he hasn't had the training of the other 4. Meanwhile, Dr. Minovsky and his team leave Granada and head into the lunar wasteland. They are making a run for Von Braun City, which is 4,000 kilometers away. EFF intercepts a message about Minovsky making a run for it. Everyone wants to get their hands on Minovsky because they think that Tim Ray simply isn't good enough. Tim heads to the military outpost. Murray Smythe is a lunar moray, which is a basin that was originally formed by volcanic activity. It happens to be right in between Granada and Von Braun. Tim goes to the EFF higher-ups and demands that they send out a team to retrieve Dr. Minovsky, and he plans on joining them. Tim heads out along with the Iron Cavalry team. Ramba and the Black TriStars meet up with Char in a red Zaku 1. He teases Ortega before the 4 of them make their move on Minovsky. They fire but try not to kill the doctor. That is when the Iron Cavalry drops down out of a Pizarro-class ship. There needs to be more information on the Pizarro-class ship. Remember, in the original mobile suit, EFF didn't optimize their battleships for mobile suit purposes until UC-0083. In Origin, since mobile suits are more prominent, it only makes sense to add some kind of mobile suit cruiser. Although designed for mobile suits, I still think that a Columbus-class ship serves as a better general-purpose cargo ship. There is a triple beam cannon on the forward and the aft of the ship, and some form of shell-based turrets. The RCX 7602 gun cannon first type, Iron Cavalry Squadron Edition, is a mass-produced version of the gun cannon mobility test type and the gun cannon firepower test type, and designed by Tim Ray. Since the gun cannon first type is intended for infantry-style operation, it has more versatile armaments as well as better mobility. In addition to the long-range bombardment capabilities of the gun tank early type, it also emphasizes bombardment for medium range. It is designed so that its equipment can be changed depending on the mission and the team organization. The short range was never really thought out for this unit, so the articulating hands only have 3 fingers. It is equipped with 60mm Vulcans, a rifle, a low recoil cannon found on the gun tank early type, a Gatling gun, a missile launcher, and a shield. Also, did you know that the mobile suit, the Origin English website, is still up? It actually has a lot of good info. Zeon goes in to attack the Iron Cavalry. As they have superior firepower, it doesn't matter, as the Zakus can get in close and cause damage. Those tiny articulating hands of the Iron Cavalry can't hang with the Zeon units, just as Tim predicted. Zeon destroys the Pizarro-class ship. Minovsky gets out and runs for his life in a normal suit. 1 gun cannon remains. A Zaku 1 comes in with its Heat Hawk and tears through the remaining unit. It falls and crushes Dr. Minovsky. Tim watches his senpai die in front of his eyes. While the battle is happening, we get a glimpse of a woman on Granada using a Zeon Major to get a meeting with the mayor of the city. She and Zeonic are in a bidding war for military contracts and trying to get access to Granada for mobile suit production. But the mayor tells them that this is neutral territory and they don't want war coming to the moon. She gets a call from Ramba Ral informing her the job is done. She informs the mayor that she is Caecilia, and that Zeon will never build on Granada so long as he is mayor. The next day, we see in the news that the mayor was killed in an accident, but in the OVA, we get to see that accident. Yeah, murder! At Anaheim, Tim tells the company and EFF that 4 mobile suits were able to take an entire squad of 12 gun cannons. They blame Tim on the situation. He believes that mobile suits will dictate the outcome of future wars. Everyone laughs at him and says that it is just a walking tank. Missiles and tanks don't win wars. Tim says they do when the battles are fought in space. He goes into detail about what EFF will have to learn the hard way. He says their battle tactics are flawed from the foundation. Tim shows them the design for the Gundam. In a Yashima shuttle, Tim and Amuro head to Side 7. They pass by Luna 2, and Tim mentions that it was originally moved to the L3 point to help build new colonies, which ultimately never happened. Tim seems proud since he was able to help get Side 7 built. The two head into the colony, which is still under construction. As Zeon prepares for war, Degwin asks Zeon if they are sure they are ready to start a war. He tells his father not to worry, and that he will end this war in a month. Now that is hilarious. Gieren's got jokes. Frau Bo heads to school. Her classmates are Amuro, Hayato, and Kai. She and Amuro walk home together as they live near each other. Later that night, Kai and Hayato convince his classmate to steal a bulldozer. They go for a joyride and crash into a Federation building. Fedi soldiers come out and point guns at the kids. Remember, this neutral colony and the Federation isn't supposed to be here. They note that Amuro is Tim's son, and they separate him from the other kids. Tim told Amuro to try not to stand out. This is the opposite of what his dad wanted. The Principality finally declares war and begins taking over Granada and Von Braun. They also prep for the invasion of Side 2. Frau cries at Amuro as all he does is stare at his screen as war breaks out. January, UC 0079. Garen gives a speech about their people currently taking Side 2. We cut to Side 2, where the colonies are being bombarded by Zeon. Ramba Ral notes that this is a massacre and not a war. In the OVA, we see a Lepantos on the battlefield. The Lepanto class is a missile frigate designed to escort Salamis and Magellan-class ships and are specific to the Origin canon. This ship handled Minovsky particles poorly and was the last frigate to be made by EFF. It is armed with a megaparticle gun, a 6.2 missile launcher, a 16.2 bombardment missile launcher, a 2-barrel machine gun, and more various anti-air missile launchers. Dozel congratulates Ral, but the battle has left a bad taste in his mouth. Dozel points out to Island Ifish, the last remaining colony of Side 2. He tells them about the plan to gas the remaining citizens so the colony and the Earth can kiss. Ramba Ral wants nothing to do with this operation, but Dozel reminds him that they just killed 100 million of Side 2's citizens. What is a few million more? He believes this isn't something Zeon Daikum would have wanted and walks away. This manga in the OVA leads you to believe that it is because he is a Daikum loyalist, which was the reason for his past shame, just like the original anime. But in Origin, Ramba redeems the Ral name only for him to destroy it once again in the eyes of the Zabis. I mean, okay, to the people who say Ramba Ral's character in Origin is different, I always think of this moment and go, yeah, you're not wrong. Inside the colony, Island Ifish, a young man named Yuki goes with a young woman to stand guard by the shelter. Oh, his name is Yuki, which means snow in Japanese. I just realized that. That will come around in a few seconds. Before going into the shelter, the young couple talks about the life they will live after they make it out of this situation. The two kiss, and she heads into the shelter while he stands guard. Aw, I hope they make it. Meanwhile, outside of the colony, Zeon begins attaching gas. Everyone slowly passes out forever. Well, I'm sure there was like a few that survived the gas, but they certainly won't survive what comes next. Zeon takes the colony and sets its eyes for the Guiana Highlands in South America. No, wrong universe. The one where Jaburo is located. That one. January 10th, UC 0079. Zeon and the colony are met with the Tiaman fleet who try to stop it, but it is fruitless. The colony breaks up into 3 pieces and enters Earth's atmosphere. The biggest piece hits Sydney, Australia. After the events of Operation British, the population of humanity was halved. The Zabis are planning their next move and are looking at Side 5 as they aren't sure who to side with. Degwin tries to get Giran to see his failures in leadership, but he simply passes the blame to someone else. As millions have just died, one important person is born, Meneva Zabi. Dozel tries to make us feel empathy for him after all the death and destruction. As Side 5 is split, the people take to the streets to protest, which leads to violence. Salamas is working at the hospital in the capital, Miranda Bunch, and tending to someone's wounds when a Zeon spy named Tashi asks for a moment of her time. He tells her about the exploits of Char Aznable, and then says that Castle Rim Daikum is still alive and leaves her to put 2 and 2 together. He also says that he goes by the name Red Comet, but Loum has yet to happen, and he has yet to go 3 times normal speed. She gets a call from Roger Aznable informing her that her father, Tiabolo, has collapsed and his health is declining. The Black Tri-Stars are looking on in amazement at the MS-6 that they will be taking out into battle. This, along with Char's unit, is the High Mobility Type Zaku. The MS-06R-1A Zaku 2 High Mobility Type, the Origin version, can be considered the first mobile suit designed for a specific need. In this case, versatility was abandoned for increased mobility. This unit has extra propellant as well as vernier thrusters on the back and legs. Gaia's unit has 2 shields and carries extra bazooka magazines. Ortega's unit uses a giant heat hawk, which is 10 meters in length and has thrusters built into the weapon. MASH uses the ASR-78 MS anti-ship rifle. Char's unit has no extra vernier thrusters or special equipment by design. Other weapons include a machine gun, a regular heat hawk, and a shoulder shield. They look over to see Char's gaudy red version. We learn that Char's rank has been instated, and he has earned the rank of Lieutenant Junior grade. Before Dozel stripped his rank, he was a warrant officer. Char tells them to prepare for Loum in the most cheeky, backhanded manner possible, while still not resorting to crass language. Dozel briefs the higher-ups on the plan to use mobile suits to attack Revel's fleet, while Zeon's fleet handles the Tiaman fleet. At the Cabaret Club, Ramba Ral is refusing to take part in the Battle of Loum, just like he did Operation British. His comrades Clamp and Kozun are leaving for the battle. Clamp was the one who almost blew up Kika's face, and Omer Fang blew up Kozun with the rocket. He tells them not to die in the name of the Zabis. Don't worry, we know how they die. It's embarrassing. Sayla returns to Texas Colony to see an ill Diabolo mass. It is on Side 5, so the colony is still in turmoil due to the riots. As the mob heads toward the mass estate, Sayla and the house takes up arms. January 23rd, UC 0079. General Revel's fleet launches from Earth and heads out towards Loum. Both Zeon and EFF are treating this battle as the final battle to this war. After things calm down, Sayla returns to find that Diabolo Mass passed away. The last attack simply was too much for him. As more rioters storm the estate, the people of Texas Colony look out to see Miranda Bunch's port being destroyed. Unfortunately, Roger Aznable and his wife were left and killed during this attack. This was done by the Red Comet. Sayla looks out to see the red mobile suit. Tiamin relays to Revel that Zeon began attacking Loum and they need emergency help. Tiamin can't afford to give up one ship, so Revel sends out Cunningham and Joaquin's fleet. Degwin and Garma Zabi are watching the battle play out from their Guazine, the Great Degwin. They are informed that EFF took the bait and is sending a fleet to assist. A tactical liaison informs them that although EFF has superior firepower, the Musai class features reduced cross sections and is designed for beam deflective purposes. On top of that, they are superior in maneuverability than EFF. Zeon begins Minovsky particle dispersion. One of Dozel's ships gets taken out. The battle begins. The Tiamin fleet attacks Dozel's fleet, not realizing that he is leading them into a trap. Dozel krails for his fallen comrades. Minovsky particle density is high and Tiamin is struggling to hit targets. This is the first time Tiamin's fleet struggled to fight with Minovsky particle interference. I am sure it existed during Operation British as well, but a giant colony was heading towards the Earth. I'm sure they knew what they had to shoot at. Dozel's fleet retreats from the Tiamin fleet. Out in the middle of space, in the Saberfish duckbill, Sergeant Ryu is scouting when he runs into Dozel's fleet. He begins bombarding Revel's fleet. That is when the mobile suit fleet begins to launch. The Black Tri-Stars begin their attack. They tear through the Ananke, Revel's flagship. The Saberfish makes its way back to Revel's fleet to see that it is being destroyed. They try to land on a Columbus-class ship, but it is blown up. Ryu says that they don't have any weapons on this scouting unit, which you would think it would still have Vulcans, but whatever. One of the Black Tri-Stars takes out the Saberfish. They find Revel's escape pod. Ryu drifts out into space. The Joaquin fleet comes in to support Revel, but it is led into the chaos. Char takes down Joaquin's flagship. He goes 3 times normal speed and begins taking out the fleet. Remember, Dozel's fleet retreated from the Tiamin's fleet, who was heading to Side 3. They then attacked Revel's fleet. In between Side 3 and the Tiamin fleet is the Great Degwin. Since Tiamin's communication is cut off due to Minovsky particles, he decides to head back to assist Revel. However, he could have just kept moving forward, and in that case, would most certainly destroy or capture the Great Degwin. Garen was kind of hoping Tiamin would push forward and kill his father and Garma in the process. Caecilia knows what he is up to. However, it can't be understated that if Tiamin pushed forward to Side 3, they would be ultimately defenseless due to their blitz towards Revel, and this war would have ended. Degwin once again tries to tell Garen that he is heading down the same path as past rulers, but he sees himself as above all of them. Both figuratively and literally, he's in space. The words of Daikum are being used by Garen in the same manner as Hitler using Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch. Degwin wants Caecilia to reel him in. The Black Tri-Stars are mad that Char is getting more recognition than them. Meanwhile, Garma is complaining to Dozel that Char is getting more recognition than him. After the Battle of Loum, Char was awarded the rank of Lieutenant Commander. At a victory ceremony, Garma tells Char that he is now a major and a part of the 101st Airborne Division, and that he is better than him. Char goes, "That's nice, buddy." The two almost kiss. The 101st takes charge of mopping up the remaining ground forces within Side 5. Ah, look at him, he seems happy murdering. Caecilia meets with Lieutenant General Makube. She puts him in charge of the Earth's forces as he has an affinity for art and earthly things, as she puts it. They both admit that they have no intention of ending the war anytime soon. They want to drag this out for as long as possible. He asks 2 questions. 1, what does he do when EFF loses the will to fight? And 2, what insurance does he have that he just isn't Garen's pawn? Caecilia answers the second first. She says that their insurance will be Garma, as he will be joining him. Their trust in Garma's life is his insurance. In regards to her first question, she simply responds by saying heaven favors them, but she confides in him and lets him know that she hates Giran. Meanwhile, Degwin meets with the POW Revel. They want to put an end to the war, even if others do not wish it. Makuve heads to Antarctica to negotiate peace. Dozel doesn't trust Makuve. We find out that he tried to get Char to join him on Earth, but he declined. Dozel gives him a new mission. His spies have wind of Operation V and want to stomp out any fading mobile suit operations. His mission is to find Operation V's whereabouts and eliminate it. He gives Char the Musai-class ship, the Fall Mill. Char meets with the crew of the ship. He has no interest in being a sailor and gives command of the ship to Lieutenant Drin. Meanwhile, Revel is being transported. In transit, a group of VFF soldiers come to rescue him. They escape on a Salamis. Char and the Fall Mill just so happens to be close by. Drin wants to attack, but Char tells him to scratch that order and let them react first. The Salamis weren't expecting a ship to be in this area. Dren fires a warning shot and Char heads out in his Zaku. He boards the ship and asks why they are here. One officer tries to shoot Char, but he is quicker to the draw. He asks once again why they are here. That is when Revel comes to the bridge. Char lets them go because the events of Mobile Suit Gundam have to happen, silly. He wants to see how this plays out. In the International Observatory Habitat, Scott City, in Antarctica, General Elron and Gop prep for the peace talks. They both look at each other and go, oh no, poor Revel, whatever will we do? They're glad he is gone, and they also don't plan on ending this war. As they begin negotiations, Revel broadcasts to the world that he is alive and that if EFF gives in here, it will effectively be a surrender. Everyone seems happy by this announcement. Everybody but Degwin, who is furious that Revel lied to him about bringing peace. As Garma gets ready to leave for Earth, Degwin says, kill them all! On Side 7, Amuro and the soon-to-be White Base crew get into their starting positions. On board the Fall Mill, someone bumps into Jean. Jean pulls out a knife and says, I will cut you. Remember, Jean disobeys orders and shoots Frau Bo and the war orphans' families. You could say the events of Mobile Suit Gundam play out because of Jean. Char tells his crew to get it together. Jean and his Mobile Suit team head out to Side 7. Char, in a Mad Angler class, watches as EFF makes its way through the United Kingdom. They make an attack on the rear fleet while underwater. In Northern Ireland, a young girl watches as White Base flies over her home. Like the anime, she relays this data to Char via balloon. Do what you gotta do, I guess? Also, this suggests that the tides of war can be changed by a strong gust of wind. What if it never reached him? Once Char realizes that Boone and the Mad Angler team is close to Belfast, he heads to the surface and takes out a sea lance to catch up with Boone's team. The sea lance goes fast in the water. That is really the only data about this. It's a sea shuttle. Also, if you haven't, check out our coverage of the battle tales of Flanagan Boone, especially if you're into body horror. Revel is informed that 2 aircraft carriers and their amphibious assault ships were destroyed during Zeon's recent attack. 3 missile frigates and transports were also heavily damaged. Revel's fleet makes it to Belfast to see that White Base is already there. He says that ship and its crew will be vital. They disembark and head to the EFF base, where the crew runs into the Zeon spy trying to hawk her wares. They all salute as Revel comes to the meeting room. Because she was dealing with the children, Frau Bo shows up late. Bright gives her the death stare. Revel informs them that they will be a part of the counteroffensive at Odessa. Kai asks to go to the restroom, and Bright begins tearing at his hair. Kai isn't into taking orders from the loser of Loum. Oh snap. Boone gets a message informing them that the Trojan horse is located at Belfast, and that Char is making his way to them. He launches Agog and preps for battle. Kai gets off White Base. He heads into the war-torn town to find the spy. She tells him her name is Miharu, and that she can put him up for a couple nights. Char and the Mad Angler team holds off on attacking as White Base and Revel's fleet is there. But the Gog that Boone sent out is going rogue and attacking White Base. Kai has dinner with Miharu and her brother and sister. She prods about White Base. The power goes out as action happens at the docks. Kai isn't really concerned. Miharu tells him to make himself comfortable on the couch while she heads out. While relaxing, he finds a gun. Bright calls the crew back to White Base as the Gog makes its attack. The Gog won't listen to orders, so Char takes this opportunity to attack. But Boone informs him that they only have a Zok to work with. Char will launch in the Zok. Amuro is unable to launch in the Gundam because they started maintenance and wasn't expecting this attack. The Slugger team also drunkenly makes their way back to the ship. What's the situation here, guys? We gotta go, but I can't get this hooker off me. Screw it, bring her with us, we gotta go. Hayato and Jabjan in the gun tank begin firing on the GOG. Slugger's team is in the middle of all of this. Don't let one of those shells fall on you. Kai sees the fire happening and takes off. Miharu is meeting with a Zeon informant. He gives her an EFF uniform and a boatload of money and tells her to board White Base. The Mad Angler fires missiles. Bright retaliates with anti-air guns. Slugger asks Bright if he could take out the core fighter instead of the Jim to take out the ship shooting missiles. Bright orders him to use the Jim, and Slugger sarcastically obeys. Char sees Jim's launch, but not a sign of the Gundam. He allows his subordinate to pilot the Zok instead. Miharu returns home. Her siblings told her that Kai left. She also informs her siblings that she will be going away for a while and gives them the money. Kai wanders off and reflects on all the times that the White Base crew called him a piece of shit. He sees the gun tank out in the open and decides to head back to White Base. The refugee camp in the area is attacked and many run towards the docks. Ray tells the crew to hold them back. During this chaos, Miharu, disguised as an EFF soldier, boards White Base. Kai makes it back to the ship and gets into the gun cannon. Maximilian was going to pilot it and is glad Kai came back. Maximilian is another kid from Side 7 and a delinquent like Kai. I believe he was one of the kids who helped steal a dump truck last episode. Zok pilots catches up with the GOG pilot. He tells the GOG to head back to the ship, but he continues to disobey orders. The GOG jumps out of the water and attacks the gun tank that is still out in the open. It grabs the gun tank from behind when Kai comes in and helps. Kai shoots the GOG point blank, taking it down. The Zok retreats. Sayla tells Bright that they are to head to Gibraltar. He says to print it out. He will read it later. That's kind of weird. Why? Because Miharu has to find it at his desk, silly. That's lazy writing. Of course, Kai finds her and hides her in his room. But Amuro sees this. Bright tells Kai that he isn't going to take any of his nonsense anymore. He tells Miharu not to go snooping or he will get into trouble. EFF's main fleet makes its way to the Gibraltar Strait. The Gulf is a strategic point and the first step in taking back Odessa. They begin their attack. White Base is about 2 hours away from the operation. On their way, they find a civilian airplane going down and allow them to land. The civilians happen to be Flanagan Boone and his team. He tells one of his teammates not to talk because of his thick Zeon accent. In the dub, they represent this guy's accent as German, but I like to think it is New England posh.
Your watercraft is as ill-designed as you yourselves.
Good one, Chet.
Meanwhile, Char sends out a Grublo with 2 mobile suits who try to catch up. Bright tells Boone that they are doing the bare minimum repairs to get them home and they are billing them later for the fuel. He confines the crew to a waiting room. Boone tries to leave the room, but Jabjan stops him. He says he just wants to use the restroom. While in the bathroom stall, he contacts Miharu, who tells him that they are heading to Gibraltar. She also tells him that she hasn't seen the white mobile suit yet. Kai sees she is trying to make contact and realizes she has a signal. He knows a civilian ship just landed on board. He figures it out and runs to the deck where Boone's ship takes off. He tells the crew to shoot it down when a bomb goes off on White Base. The Grublo and mobile suits begin their attack. Bright tells Slugger to go out in the core fighter. Amuro wants to go out too, but Bright tells him to stand by as it isn't designed for underwater use. Also, Oscar Dublin is there. Hi Oscar! As Kai preps the gun parry. Miharu wants to help him after seeing the war orphans help out. Slugger fights against the Zok and Zagok. Kai is finally ready and boards the gun parry. Hayato will be running gunner, while Amuro will snipe from the gun parry. While talking to Hayato, Miharu sneaks on board. Uh-oh. Miharu watches on and begins getting PTSD. Amuro and the Gundam begins firing. The Grublo notices the Gundam and surfaces. Amuro goes against Bright's orders and goes into the water. Bright orders everyone to cover Amuro. Kai begins firing on the mobile suits and the Grublo. He goes to fire his last missile and it is jammed. Miharu goes down to the bay to fix the issue. Oh, I know where this is going. She goes down and pulls the lever. Unlike the anime, this is a little more brutal. The missile causes her to fly out of the gun parry, like the anime, but in the manga, she hits her head on the rudder and probably died before hitting the water. Damn! Underwater, Amuro drives his beam saber through the Grublo, taking out the pilot, Flanagan Boone. Bye, Boone. Your solo manga makes me believe you lived a very sad life. Back on White Base, Kai cries for a woman that no one but Amuro knew about. Everyone just looks at him and goes, "Who?" He talks to a ghost and wonders what was the purpose of her death. A platoon of gems are scouting a nearby island when suddenly they are attacked by one Zaku. This mysterious Zaku takes out the entire platoon. Here's a sight you never usually see. 3 Pegasus-class ships gather as they complete their takeover of Gibraltar. Lieutenant Colonel Judok gives a briefing to all the Pegasus-class crew members. Amuro wonders what is up with this guy. Slugger lets him know that he is one of General Elrond's cronies and no one likes him. Slugger meets with Bright, who gives him a mission to find a Zaku taking out gems. Usually this wouldn't matter too much, but this one person seems to be causing a lot of trouble. Frau Bo tells Amuro that she is training to take over the comms now that Sayla is piloting the core fighter. Amuro heads down to the hangar, where Omer gives him a hard time for losing a leg in the last battle. He relaxes while waiting for repairs. He thinks to himself how Lieutenant Matilda, Ryu, and that girl Kai brought on don't have spare parts. There was only one, and they're gone. Amuro dozes off. He wakes up hours later to see the Gundam is fixed. He goes to the comms to hear that Slugger's entire team has been taken out. Amuro heads out in the Gundam. He finds Slugger down in his gym. Above them is a red Zaku. It is Char. The two begin fighting. He wants to end this now. Amuro is able to push him back into a corner and take off the Zaku's head. Char jumps out of the unit and onto a convenient Dodai passing by. His subordinate, Mulligan, tells Char that his personal feelings towards the Gundam is getting in their way. He tells him to mind his own business and disbands the Mad Angler team as they prepare for Odessa. One thing to note is that there is no Kukuru's Doan's Island arc in the manga. This was before the movie Kukuru's Doan's Island, and in 2016 they released the Origin MSD Kukuru's Doan's Island. We will have to loop back around and cover this spin-off story soon. White Base is passing over Cappadocia, Turkey. Master Sergeant Atur Borbash of the Slugger platoon approaches Amuro. Atur is still injured from Char's attack. He asks him why does he still wear a cadet uniform now that he is a commissioned officer. Amuro says he doesn't like to look high and mighty. In Atur's eyes, he is breaking protocol, but after Amuro saved their lives, perhaps he needs to change. Essentially, he has earned the respect of the Slugger platoon, all 2 of them that remain. Slugger launches in the core booster even though he is still badly injured. Sayla is also launching in the core fighter. Slugger asks Sayla out for a cup of coffee and she tells him to be quiet. They pass by Mount Ararat. He tries again by asking Sayla out to a picnic, but they spot Dops at their 12 o'clock. Sayla falls back behind Slugger and they engage in battle. Sayla is able to take out one of the Dops, but another one clips her wings and she begins falling. Slugger tells her to cut the engines, lift the nose, and use the VTOL thrusters. She gets control of the core fighter and does a controlled crash landing. Well done. Mirai is able to sense that something is wrong with Sayla, but she doesn't outright tell Bright. She does, however, suggest that they accelerate to catch up with the core fighters. Sayla is safe, but Slugger can't land with the core booster equipped. He has to head back to the ship and send back a rescue team. Ortega and Mash lead a new team of Doms. Sayla hides as the Doms pass by. White Base gets the details and Amuro heads out to save Sayla. Amuro and Slugger launch. The Gundam will ride the core booster. This is the first time trying this battle configuration, and Bright and Mirai are unsure about how it will turn out. The Doms notice the White Devil in the air, and they make their way back to the shoreline. The Gundam jumps off the core booster near Sayla's location, but the Doms begin firing on him. Slugger realizes it was them who led Zeon to their location. One of the Doms fires on Sayla's downed core fighter. She jumps underwater. Amuro begins taking out Doms. 1 down, 2 down. Mash and Ortega do the double jet stream attack, which is just a cheerleader pyramid formation. They rush the Gundam, but Amuro uses his beam saber and kills Mash. Ortega is the solo star. Uno star? Estrella Solitaria. I guess it is Japanese, so it would most likely be Kodoku no Hoshi. My bad, I got distracted coming up with names for Ortega's solo career. Amuro stabs and kills Ortega with his beam saber. Damn, that was a quick solo career. In a Dobde-class ship, Makuve and his men are informed that Ortega and Mash's team have been taken out. He tells his men that they may have something to fear, but he is a man with a plan, so they will come out victorious. He ladings the thing. He and his fleet move out on Odessa. General Revel is also moving in his big Trey-class ship, the Moltke. Amuro is in the medbay, and Frau Bo and the nurse force him to rest. Bright briefs his team on their mission. They are to cover the mold key, but it is classified that Revel is on the battlefield. Slegger thinks that is a bad idea, as White Base is a giant target, and they would draw more people towards the mold key, making the situation worse. Bright agrees, but these orders come from Lieutenant General Elron, and they have to follow him. Mirai and Frau Bo say Amuro has a slight fever. Bright can't promise that he could rest for too much longer. He calls an all hands on deck as they head into battle. Bakuve calls Girin. They know of General Revel being on the battlefield and plan on taking him out swiftly, solidifying a win for Zeon. Girin trusts he will do this. He stops short before saying their secret plan. This will come into play soon. Dops begin moving in on the Big Tray class. Above are Gaos dropping Zakus onto the battlefield. Zeon is amazed by the size of the Big Tray class. Bright sends out the ground team consisting of Kai, Hayato, and the Slegger team. They run into some gyms that comment that older machines should hold the rear. Kai is offended. The Slegger team only consists of Atur and Slegger after their encounter with Char. Suddenly, a beam blast comes out of nowhere, killing Atur. Never mind, the Slegger team only consists of Slegger. Merkuve sends out 2nd Lieutenant Nekrasov and Master Sergeant Ochoa in a special assault Gao carrying nuclear weapons. He spews his propaganda at them, stating they are similar to the Enola Gay crew. The Enola Gay, named after its pilot, was a B-29 Superfortress bomber which dropped the nuke, Little Boy, over Nagasaki. Elron comes in to inform Revel that the battle is more or less won. He doesn't respond and just sits there, sipping on his coffee and reading his print newspaper. Print newspaper? Since he isn't responding, Elron threatens to take command to finish the battle. But Revel says that the endgame is the most important part. Omer is giving Amuro a pep talk before he heads out, when they get intel that Atur just died on the battlefield. So much for the pep talk. Amuro recalls his conversation with Atur earlier. He senses the nuke and doesn't listen to Bright's orders. He wonders what ship he has to go after. Bright calls him an idiot and tells him to go towards the explosion. Amuro launches. Elron continues to pester Revel about taking action soon. Revel knows that Elron is usually a patient man. He is acting like he is trying to get off the ship for some reason. Amuro starts fighting, but then goes off course. Bright tells him to get back to the battlefield. He drops his shield and bazooka to pick up speed and head towards the Big Tray class ship. Revel suspects that Elron is the mole, and he breaks down. Amuro catches up with the Gao heading towards the Big Tray class. It fires the nukes, but the Big Tray class takes it out. Amuro has to kill the fuses on the bomb before they hit the ship. He takes out his beam saber and slices through what I assume is a key section of the bombs, and he didn't just blindly swipe a nuke. One down. He rushes towards the second one and takes it out, but he can't stop and he plummets right into the Big Tray class, taking out the Gundam's arm. While this is happening, Elron's underling, Judok, is trying to escape, but Amuro stops him. On his job day, Bakuve admits defeat. He heads out in his Gyan. His underling, Yurigang, asks about Girin's order. It turns out Girin's secret plan was for Bakuve to fire all remaining ammunition on nearby towns and EFF bases. Quite a petty plan. And Bakuve sees this pettiness and refuses these orders from Girin. Or as he puts it, the Zionist ideal isn't worth a single porcelain masterpiece. Liding. EFF has acquired air, land, and mobile suit superiority on the battlefield. Bakuve begins his attack on EFF. Yurigang backs him up in a goof. They try to push through, but the battle was over before it even started. Merkuve walks out into the ocean with his Gyan. He looks to see HLVs taking off and tells Yurigang to take that fine porcelain vase to Caecilia. An explosion goes off, taking out Merkuve. And thus, we get another death of Merkuve. In the anime, he died fighting Amuro in Texas Colony, and in the movies, they edited around him so he technically survives. Now, the manga says he dies during the Battle of Odessa. Merkuve is the most inconsistent character across mediums, and thus the Battle of Odessa came to an end. Most of Zeon's forces were swept off of Earth, leaving the remaining battle to take place out in space. The White Base crew is heading into space, but they are being followed by a Zanzibar-class ship. Sayla is certain that it is Char. Bright tells the core booster team to prep for launch. Sayla and Slegger head to the hangar. Amuro is in the Gundam, already on standby. Char contacts Dren and the Camel fleet. Char wants him to intercept the Trojan horse while he pursues from the rear. Dren alters course and heads towards Char's location. The Gundam and the core booster launch. Sayla has Char on her mind. Char can sense Sayla. It seems she ignored his warning about leaving White Base. Dren doesn't want to put on his normal suit to bolster morale and more likely just to be more like Char. This will be a major regret for Dren. He gets the Swamel and the Takmel to move in battle formation. Takmel. They launch Rick Doms. Kai and Hayato protect the ship using the gun cannons. An explosion goes off nearby, doing heavy damage to Hayato. They need to retrieve him, but the Takmel is hit by a beam blast. It isn't coming from White Base, however. Jin thinks it is the Gundam, but he doesn't have eyes on it. The Takmel goes down. Then the Swamel. The Gundam is above them when he fires and destroys the Camel, taking out Drin. Bye, Drin. You learned a lesson about hubris and it cost you your life. The Zanzibar trailing behind is still out of firing range, but they definitely won't get too close after losing 3 ships. Bright calls back the core boosters and the Gundam, and White Base makes its way out of Earth orbit. At Solomon, Dozel is concerned about White Base taking out the Camel fleet. They are about to dock at Site 6. He also hates that after Dozel dismissed Char for his incompetence, Caecilia started using him. He sends out the Conscon fleet to Site 6. White Base docks with the colony, where they are met with Cameron Bloom. They won't be able to help supply the ship or help out with any fixes. When he heads to the bridge, he meets Mirai for the first time in ages. Bright remembers back when Mirai told her about her fiancé on Site 6. This must be him. Of course, he is jealous. Cameron talks to Mirai and is quite overbearing. That is when Slegger takes his glasses and tells him to learn how to properly speak to a lady. Amuro, Frau, and the kids head out to get some supplies when Amuro happens to recognize his father. He chases him down and they head to his place. He gives Amuro the piece of junk. In the manga, Amuro does make a comment about him potentially having hypoxia. Did Amuro even see his dad fly out of the colony? Of course, he ignores Amuro's needs. As he leaves, he throws the piece of junk. Mirai patches up one of Bright's uniforms as they prep for their leave on Site 6. She doesn't go into town like everyone else, but Bright mentions that at least she got to see her fiancé. Mirai doesn't like that Cameron disassociates himself from the war. Bright suggests that she keep her relationships close and states he would like that as well, but he is too gauche. As he leaves, Mirai says he is gauche, as he didn't recognize the obvious flirty banter Mirai was giving off to Bright. Amuro goes to visit his dad once again, but he is far from gone. A lot of people wonder what happens to Tim Ray. Does he die when falling down those stairs? Well, it doesn't matter, because in this moment, Tim is dead to Amuro. He says his farewells, and the two never see each other again. On his way back to the ship, it begins raining, and he hides out on a porch where he meets Lala Soon. She was enjoying the beauty of a swan. She's really into birds. She says that Amuro has beautiful eyes. They may be beautiful, but what color are they? The people in charge don't even seem to know. Amuro gets the biggest erection of his life. Conscon is in a Chevet class ship. We never talked about the Chevet class? How did I miss that one? The Chevet class is a heavy space cruiser typically designed to defend and escort flagships. This ship is not designed specifically for mobile suits, but its hangar can be converted to accommodate 8 units, twice as many as a Musai class. In Igloo, they retcon this ship to have a triple megaparticle gun instead of a double. These could rotate 360 degrees. Other weapons include a missile launcher, a twin anti-aircraft gun, and various other anti-aircraft weapons. They are waiting outside of Site 6 for White Base. Zeon has been pressuring Site 6 to force White Base out of the colony. Meanwhile, the White Base team figures out what they should do, as the Chevet class ship has more firepower and can carry 8 mobile suits. Cameron comes on the bridge and volunteers to be a shield between Zeon and White Base, as Zeon can't attack a civilian ship. Mirai doesn't like that he is butting in. That is when Slegger comes in and gives her a good slap. If a man disrespects you, you tell them to stop. But if a woman does it, you give them a good old smack. He looks over to Cameron and says, "Are you gonna let that bitch talk to you like that?" I'm being hyperbolic, but the writing isn't that far from what I just said. It's a little awkward. Amuro walks on board the ship, where he sees everyone feeling awkward by what they just witnessed. Amuro feels like he missed something. Bright gives Amuro 2 hours before departing to say goodbye to his father. He uses that time to go find Lala Soon. She isn't where he met previously. That is when his car gets stuck in the mud, and Char and Lala comes to help him. Amuro recognizes Char, but Char doesn't recognize him. He introduces himself and tows Amuro out of the mud. After being helped, Amuro gets out of there quickly. Lala notes that he realized that he was in the presence of the Red Comet. Amuro barely makes it back to the ship in time. All pilots are on standby while they launch. Cameron's ship escorts them. They send a message informing the Conscon fleet of the presence of civilians. Conscon doesn't like these tactics, and he sends out Rickdoms. White Base holds fast and waits for Zeon to make the first move. Mirai tells Cameron to fall back. We get the moment where Cameron and Mirai pass by each other. Unfortunately, unlike the show, she does not flip him off.
Mirai.
As Cameron's ship turns around, White Base begins firing on the Conscon fleet. They take down one of their Musai-class ships. Amuro is taking out all his sexual rage on this fleet. Sayla still struggles to get used to seeing so many lives done in a matter of seconds. White Base gets hit. Meanwhile, Char and Lala watch the battle go down on the news. Conscon witnesses Amuro take out 12 Rickdoms and 2 Musai-class ships. The Zeon commander fires missiles on the Gundam. Amuro is able to dodge and take out the Chevet-class ship, destroying the Conscon fleet. Lala sensed that this would be the outcome. Char believes that the Gundam pilot's powers have been unlocked and may be on the same level as Lala. White Base makes its way out of Side 6 airspace. They later reach Texas Colony. Inside is Lala and Char. He tells her that this is the only remaining colony on Side 5 after the 1-week war. With the two is Dr. Flanagan. They get word that White Base is making its way to their location. Dr. Flanagan tells Char that Lala hits the target 70% of the time during simulation training. He says that even an ace pilot like Char would probably struggle to get 50%. Flanagan wants to do an official test on Char, but he refuses. It seems he has always dodged the question of whether or not he is a new type. In the anime, it all culminates at the end, but in the manga, we get moments like this that subtly show he is actively running away from this answer. They've tested 7 subjects so far, but only one is close to Lala's levels, Chalia Bull. One thing to note is that he was an older man in the original anime, but they are younging him up in this manga. Young and sexy cells, I guess. He meets Lala for the first time. The White Base crew plans on forcing their way into the colony and taking it over. They're going in blind. Sayla wants to join the team and tells them that she used to live in this colony, so she can be useful. She, Hayato, and Slegger will go out in the gun tank. Sayla in the gun tank says it was just like back then. She remembers when she was a kid with Cassaville and fled Side 3 in the gun tank. Chalia Bull launches in the Browbro. Unlike the anime, the manga doesn't have the side story of Kycelia using Chalia Bull to prove that Lala isn't all too powerful. However, while launching, Chalia seems to carry the same resentment towards Lala that Kycelia had in the anime. Bright sends out Jobjon and Danny to assist. They are going all out on this attack. Char notices this and goes out to help Chalia and test his new Gelgoog. His men beg him to wear a normal suit, but he says, "What? You think I'm gonna die like Dren?" Ha! The team is able to breach the core and make it into the colony. Sayla notices the lake is non-existent. The graves of her mother and Lucifer are most likely not there anymore. Amuro is able to sense something in front of them when the Browbro begins his attack. Jobjon and Danny move in their gun tanks, but Amuro tells them to get back. Chalia shoots and destroys one of the gun tanks. He continues chasing the Gundam. The Browbro takes out the Gundam shield, but Amuro is able to get a shot on him. The other mobile suits regroup. Jobjon is alive, but Danny has been killed in action. They note that Amuro drove the mobile armor away from the area. Some Zakus enter into the colony. As Chalia fights Amuro, he flashes back to when Giran Zabi told him that he was a new type, and he is special. He is mad that he could have served his nation, just as he was doing before becoming a new type. Amuro stabs the Browbro and shoots the mobile armor, killing Chalia Bull. Char, in the Gelgoog commander type, is disappointed in Chalia. We get a great chapter of Slegger, Kai, Sayla, and Hayato taking on the Zakus that I won't do justice. Go check it out. The gun tanks run through some Zakus and the remaining retreat. Amuro contacts Slegger and heads back to refuel, but he senses someone. He dodges a beam blast just in time. Char notes that he is certain that he is a new type because he was able to sense Char's attack without seeing a heat source. Even though he runs away from new type testing, he claims that he must be one if Amuro is because he will defeat him here and now. This feeds into Char's obsession that we see more in the manga. Lala goes full new type for a second, and then she gets out of the tank that she is in with Dr. Flanagan. Amuro and Char fire and create a Dragon Ball Z blast. Amuro is out of ammo, so naturally, he throws his gun. He loves throwing things. He pulls out his beam saber, and Char pulls out his beam Naginata as Lala runs towards the two mobile suits. A Zeon soldier tries to stop Lala, but a rock from the mobile suit battle drops on his head and knocks him out. He might be dead, actually. Yeah, he's definitely dead. Hey, how did Bob die in the war? Oh, Bob. He turned his back during a mobile suit battle 10 feet away from him. Amuro is almost out of power. Char slices off the Gundam's arms. Char says, and I quote, "It really is too bad I have to lose you." I feel like that's a Boys to Men song from the 90s. Char pushes Amuro back, and the Gundam falls into a minefield, setting off a series of mines. Char notices Lala is on the battlefield. Sayla isn't responding to Slegger. He goes to talk to her and suggests that she goes home. He will look the other way. She calls Slegger a good man. Char gets out of the Gelgoog and tells one of his men to get the mobile suit and Lala back to the Zanzibar as they prep for their retreat. Char, like Sayla, has unfinished business in this colony. He finds himself a wild steed and heads out into the colony wasteland.
Sayla heads out to find her old home. Even though last time Slugger said he would look the other way, he tells Kai to follow her. She makes it to the Tiabolo estate where it is in shambles. She sees her mother's grave. Everyone from her past is now dead. She thinks about Lucifer when Char rolls up on his stallion. She blames him for everything that happened at Side 5. Sayla said that he did see him during the attack. Char says he prevented Texas Colony from being destroyed. It is most likely the only reason it stands today. She blames him for the real Char's death, but he does what he does best. Deny that he is at fault, of course. He blames his death on Kycelia. It was for the greater good. He says that he actually hated his father, and thus denied Zeonism. But it was in fact the man that he hated and not his ideals. Daikum created a philosophical revolution, but he ignored his own children. It was all about revenge for Char, but he changed once he learned of new types. Daikum was right about the next stage of evolution, but it isn't about space noids versus earth noids. Daikum got that part wrong. No, Char believes that it will be old types versus new types. Sayla says that this is nothing but self-righteousness. She slips up and mentions Amuro's name. Char realizes it is the Amuro he met back on Side 6. He takes his leave and tells her that Edward Mass is dead. And he's still holding on to Cassaville though. He's keeping that one in his back pocket. The MS recovery team comes to pick up Amuro, and the team heads back to White Base. Later, Bright, Slugger, and Kai meet with Sayla to discuss what Kai overheard. She tells them that she is Artesia Daikum and Char is Cassaville Rim Daikum. This is too big of a revelation for Bright not to report to the higher-ups. She is relieved of duty and confined to her room for now. Dozel is certain that EFF's main forces will do an all-out attack on Solomon. He needs more men. Garen sent him the Big Zam, but that isn't enough. Kycelia is hesitant to send out more forces from the moon. The Zabis are not working together as their world slowly unravels. Back on White Base, Frau Bo does a checkup on Amuro. We get the moment where Amuro acknowledges that he has been distant with Frau. In the anime, Frau acknowledges that Amuro has grown and moves on. It's as though she already moved on from Amuro at this point, but here in the manga, she asks him what happened on Side 6, and he says maybe he will tell her one day. She gave him one more chance to open up to her, but chose not to. The kids break into the room along with Dr. Mas Khan. This dude is tall. He pitches Amuro about testing the new magnetic coating on the Gundam. He has been studying the Gundam's test data and think it would make a good candidate. Although Mas doesn't know yet, this will increase the Gundam's reaction time by 30%. Mas says he always wanted to meet his father, Tim Ray. Omer and Bright comes over to tell Mas that his team won't let him supervise the changes. Amuro tells them to trust in the Mosque team. Meanwhile, Admiral Joaquin and his fleet launches from Luna 2 and sets his eyes on Solomon. Out near Solomon's first line of defenses is Zaccarello vaporizes some gems and balls. Meanwhile, Zena and Dozel reflect on the fact that Minerva is almost 1 year old. They reflect on the Dawn Rebellion like it was 20 years ago, but it only happened 2 years ago. Bright briefs the team on the upcoming attack. They will help the Joaquin fleet. Since the Gundam is being upgraded, Amuro is sitting this one out. He goes to Dr. Mosk and asks him to explain the magnetic coating for him. During the discussion, he gets mad about making changes to the Gundam at a pivotal time, even though he agreed to it. Amuro is acting like a baby and being high and mighty. The Mosk team runs a system check when the Gundam goes haywire. Meanwhile, Amuro once again is a dick to Frau Bo. She was just doing her job this time. Sayla comes in and tells her to cut the crap. That is when they get word that something went wrong with the Gundam. Mosk is badly injured during the test, but he tells Amuro that they were able to achieve zero friction. He believes that Amuro can tweak the rest. He and Sayla decide to head out for a mock battle to test the new upgrade. She tells him to fight her as if she were Char. They go at it as though it isn't a mock battle. Mosk wonders what an Esper like Amuro could do with these new improvements. Remember, unlike Zeon, EFF didn't focus on Psychomu tech. Rather, they focused on improving reaction time and speed. The magnetic coating upgrade is the closest that Amuro gets to moving at the speed of thought during the 1 year war. Of course, this changes over time as he eventually adopts Psychomu tech. Char Zanzibar docks with Kycelia's Dolos class ship. Oh snap, the Dolos! You rarely see the Dolos. Take it in, boys. We probably won't see it again for a while. Kycelia and Char have a private conversation. She says that after Dozel ousted him, he is on a tight leash if he wants to remain in Zeon's inner circle. She asks will he choose Garen or Kycelia during this endgame. The two Zabis are currently at odds. He says that after EFF attacks Solomon, there are 3 potential targets that EFF could go after next. Side 3, A Baoa Qu, or Granada. He believes that it will most certainly be Side 3. The question is, will they support Solomon or prep for its fall? Kycelia's Dolos certainly could help. Also, Garen has the ability to provide forces, but chooses not to because of his belief in the solar ray. He is clearly saving his forces, but she wonders for whom. Char chooses to stay by Kycelia's side. Amuro and the gang head back to White Base. He thanks Mosk for everything he's done for the Gundam. Meanwhile, the attack on Solomon begins. Kycelia claims to be on her way, but Granada is far from Solomon. Solomon. Dozel preps the Big Zam. This whole time, Dozel is expecting Tiamin's fleet to do a full-out attack on Solomon, but it is just actually Joaquin's fleet pretending to be bigger in numbers. Whitebase is escorting Joaquin as well. Amuro hasn't returned from the Columbus-class ship where Bosk's team works, and they can't get closer as Whitebase has already engaged in battle. Sayla can't take him into battle because she is still on probation. Wait, you could do a mock battle on probation though? Weird. That is when Slegger and the core booster comes over to their location and picks up Amuro. He heads towards the Joaquin fleet to see a bunch of downed balls. This is his first time seeing the ball in action. One ball is being chased by the Zachrello. Amuro goes in for the attack. Unlike the anime, there are 4 Zachrellos, with one being piloted by Dimitri. Amuro takes one down. The mobile armors are faster than he thought. He might be dead without the new upgrades. Dimitri tries to use his beam spray cannon, but Amuro points his beam rifle and destroys his mobile armor. The ball pilot being chased happened to be Hayato. He looks out to see Amuro destroying all the Zachrellos. Mirai was able to notice the difference in his fighting style, but Bright couldn't keep up. Regardless, he is happy Amuro is improving. However, EFF shouldn't rely on psychic powers to win a war. Meanwhile, the Tiamin fleet is near the solar flare system. Remember, this is a solar furnace made up of 4 million tiny mirrors, all adjusted with verniers, although the manga shows balls adjusting the mirrors. Tiamin is in control of this weapon and is waiting to attack, while Joaquin attacks Solomon head-on. 10 hours until the weapon is ready. Tiamin is certain Dozel will notice him within 10 hours. Sure enough, their fleet is able to spot Tiamin's fleet and the giant solar weapon. He sends out the Guazin-class ship the Guaron and some Musais to take on Tiamin. The Zabi hubris kicks in, as Dozel no longer wants help from his siblings. The weapon is good to go. It isn't specified, but I don't think Tiamin waited 10 hours. He fires on the Zeon fleet. Dozel loses signal with the Guaron. While the Whitebase crew joins the battle, Mirai bumps into Slegger as they go to their stations. He says, "Hey baby girl, I'm sorry I bumped into you." This somehow does it for Mirai. Dozel tells his family to head to the moon and hope that Caecilia will pick them up. She may have abandoned Dozel, but she won't abandon Zena and Minerva. He says farewell to his wife and child as he and his men go into battle. Hayato gets into a defective ball. He wants to prove himself that he is as capable as Amuro, and this is the only thing he could do. He launches in the ball, and Kai launches in the gun tank. Slegger is hit. He ejects the booster and returns to the ship. Bright calls for Master Sergeant Vamas to take over from Mirai, as he gets sense that she wants to talk to Slegger. He tells her that she could take her time. He is referring to being relieved of duty, but it is a metaphor for his love for Mirai. He's chillin'. Bright's not in any rush. Go bang it out. He will still be here. She goes to see Slegger, who is getting down on a burger in the ready room. Wait, who wrote piss on the vending machine? It was totally Kai, wasn't it? She tells him not to die. Slegger thinks that she is wasting her feelings on a guy like him. He gives her his mother's ring and tells her to hold on to it. As the ship is attacked, the two stumble onto one another and they kiss. Not to ruin the moment, but did you know that Amuro sucks ass? True story. I learned it from this chair. That was probably also Kai. Slegger heads back into battle. Meanwhile, near Granada, Caecilia heads to help Dozel. Obviously, way too late in the game to make a difference.
Slegger launches again in the core booster. Jims and Balls head straight for Dozel's command center. Hayato in the ball gets attacked. His right articulating arm is destroyed, and he is badly injured. Zachrellos and Gelgoogs begin an assault. Dozel and his men prep for the battle. He tells his men to abandon Solomon. They have all fought bravely and will be remembered. He says to know this: the blood of thousands of Zeon soldiers will be on Caecilia and Garen's hands, as they rather play politics than care for the people of Zeon. Hayato wakes up with Frau Bo by her side, giving him a blood transfusion. He is upset about not being on the battlefield fighting. Frau tells him that he fought well and Solomon is about to fall, so to not worry about it. But all Hayato ever wanted was to beat Amuro. She tells him that Amuro is different from them. Amuro is fighting when he gets a new type flash. A giant beam cannon takes out the entire squad of gems. It is the Big Zam. Amuro wonders if this is still considered a mobile suit. It isn't Amuro, it is a mobile armor, you idiot. But during the 1 year war, this is the closest we've seen to a mobile fortress in battle. The only other thing that gets close to this is the Big Rang in Igloo, which was classified as a mobile bridgehead. The only co-pilot that matters is Meyer, although the character design looks different here. Meyer will go on to be Zena Zabi's personal guard and plays a role in Shin Matsunaga's story. The Big Zam begins taking out EFF one squad at a time. Dozel tells everyone to abandon Solomon. He also tells his co-pilots to abandon ship and assumes all control to him. As Meyer gets a tow from a nearby Zaku, he salutes Commander Dozel, knowing what he is about to do. As Tiamin fleet joins the battle, Amuro hops onto Slegger's core booster. booster. Big Zam approaches Tiamin's fleet. They think it is a ship, but it is too late before they realize it is a giant mobile armor. Dozel fires, taking out Tiamin's flagship and Tiamin in the process. He begins tearing through Tiamin's fleet. General Revel was captured under his command, and Dozel was the one to take out Tiamin. He really is the only commander that made a dent in EFF while everyone else was dicking around. Slugger tells Amuro to hold on as they rush towards Big Zam. They attack from below. Dozel quickly notices and uses his chicken feet to grab the core booster. Slugger ejects in the core fighter and crashes into Big Zam's thrusters, killing Slugger in the process. In the anime, he doesn't eject from the core fighter and is taken out in one blow by the chicken feet. The Gundam jumps up and strikes the Big Zam right in the cockpit. Dozel gets out of the Big Zam and begins firing at the Gundam. I always found it funny that he uses such a useless weapon, but that is entirely the point. The gun is doing nothing. It is the man himself. Dozel, on the verge of death, doesn't back down. Without anything but a gun, Dozel was able to make Amuro afraid. As Amuro sees Dozel's aura, the Big Zam explodes, killing Dozel. Char Zanzibar picks up Lady Zena and Minerva. They regroup with the rest of Caecilia's fleet. In the anime, the Battle of Solomon happens before the fight at Texas Colony, so it is Makuve who escorts Zena. Back on board White Base, Amuro informs Mirai of Slugger's death. She is in shock and awe. I think she bumps her head and accidentally knocks herself out. This addition makes this very sad moment hilarious. Good job, Kodakawa. Back at Side 3, Degwin yells at Giran for getting Dozel killed. He says it couldn't be helped, that he was a prideful man. But Degwin says, "He's your brother, idiot. Of course you knew that was going to be his course of action." Not only that, his plan involved using their forces as cannon fodder. Giran believes that EFF will go after Side 3 before A Baoa Qu. He believes that the death of Tiamin will prevent them from doing a full-out attack on their asteroid fortress. Considering they passed Granada and went directly to Solomon, it is safe to assume Granada is off the table. Degwin doesn't want to evacuate the people of a closed colony, but Giran wants to use the evacuated colony for the solar ray. There really was no leader to begin with, but he has gone from faux leader to full-on dictator. Degwin gives the famous Hitler speech, where he equates his son to Hitler from the Middle Ages. In the anime, we get the funny moment where Giran essentially says, that Hitler sounds like a great guy. But in the manga, he embraces it. He begins talking about cleansing the world, and refers to the people of Earth as Earthnoid parasites. He tells Degwin that a new type advanced party is heading to Solomon to test the new units. Giran tells him he will show him the kind of man someone living in Hitler's footsteps can accomplish. Back at Caecilia's Dolos, which is called the Purple Widow, Char introduces Lala to Caecilia. She has been summoned to Side 3 and wants to borrow his Zanzibar. Her Purple Widow stands out and she is trying to not draw attention. Back at White Base, Amuro conducts a survivability test in the core fighter. He ejects Gundam parts A and B, but he isn't responding to Sayla's command. Sayla is back at her post after being taken off duty for being Char's sister. Amuro complains about not being able to handle Slugger's death. Minai is also back at her post, as she senses something. Sayla could sense it too. She tells Amuro to get the Gundam back together. Amuro can sense Lala. A Magellan-class ship goes down. They can't get sights on the target. Bright calls back Amuro. Lala begins attacking in the Elmith, while Char watches from afar in the Gelgoog. General Revel makes his way to Solomon, where he is met by the Joaquin force that took over the base. I dig these black EFF uniforms that I don't think exist outside of Joaquin's fleet, but I could be wrong. He is informed of the Magellan that was shot down outside of Solomon. Perhaps it is the restless soul of Dozel. This joke that Revel tells his men is most certainly the reason Lala became known as the Ghost of Solomon. This is why you can't tell jokes these days. You just tell a joke and someone creates a superstition out of it. Ugh, humanity. White Base returns to Solomon, where most of the crew wants to check out the Zeon bathhouse built into the asteroid base. Amuro hangs back on the ship, where he once again hears Lala. At the Solomon Command Center, the higher-ups plan their final push. They will head towards A Baoa Qu and then veer towards Side 3, which will expose them from the Zeon asteroid. This is when Joaquin's third fleet continues towards A Baoa Qu and holds off their forces. Revel will head towards Side 3, while Vice Admiral Togo's fleet support Joaquin. Togo is concerned as no matter how they allocate the resources, there isn't a way they can take on both Giran and Caecilia's fleet. He wants to not rush to a final battle, but Revel informs him of the weakest link theory. No matter how strong and intact all the other links are, if the wooden link breaks, the whole chain will burst. This was a common tactic of Lenin and the Bolsheviks. Whether it is warfare or the battlefield, the enemy is only as strong as its weakest link. This is Revel's plan for the final battle as well. He calls in Bright and informs him that he will be with Joaquin's fleet. Remember, Joaquin was the commandant of Luna 2 when they had their run-in with Char. Initially, Joaquin was going to have them arrested for giving military secrets to children, so there is some animosity there still. Revel calls this operation Star 1, which will better be known in the future as the Battle of A Baoa Qu. Meanwhile, Sayla and her titties can sense another attack coming towards Solomon. Magellan is attacked. Amuro too can sense a new type and goes out even though Bright isn't back from his meeting. He finds Lala in the Elminth and the two can instantly recognize one another. Kycelia and the Zanzibar make it back to Side 3 where she notices Bunch 3, aka Mahal, being turned into the colony laser. They believe this will be more powerful than the solar system. They dock, but Char's underling Mulligan is feeling tense right now. They go and meet Degwin about funding for Granada. She notices Kycelia easily even though she is in a disguise. He is tired of dealing with Giran and doesn't want to resort to using the solar ray to win this war. He wants to take out Giran for the sake of his nation. Degwin says that Revel will meet him to discuss peace after he talked to him after the Battle of Loum. After the Battle of Loum, she did promise that she would help him in any time of need, but she lets him know that her Dolos is heading towards what Zeon calls the Geldova line. This is the link between Solomon and Side 1, which is currently in shambles after the 1-week war. At least Shangri-La survives. Ugh, what a trash colony. Why didn't that colony get destroyed? Would have saved a lot of headaches. Just saying. The focal point of the Geldova line is also where Revel and EFF is gathering before the final push. She says that once they begin engaging in battle, there is no chance for a peace treaty, and more lives will be lost. If he truly wants this, he has to act now. Degwin makes his departure in the Great Degwin flagship for the first time since the Battle of Loum. He plans on bringing peace to his people now that Kycelia will help him deal with Giran. Meanwhile, Kycelia contacts Giran privately. Her message simply says, His Grace is heading for the Geldova line focal point. End of message. She is backstabbing her father and telling Giran, knowing exactly what he will do with this information. However, she was also given orders to take down Giran, so she will continue to do so with her father also out of the picture. Imagine if this family actually worked together. Joaquin's fleet pushes out towards A Baoa Qu. The battle is slowly starting to begin. Joaquin talks to Bright. They have intel that Giran is being held up in the asteroid base, and he intends to take control, which means EFF's assumptions that their forces were divided were correct. He tells Bright that he and his crew have grown since Luna 2, and so has Joaquin. He wants to put the past behind them and give them hell during this battle. Well, that rivalry ended quick. Someone's gonna die. Kycelia meets with Char, who just returned from the battle with Amuro. The two take a load off and have a drink. She tells him that there are no cameras or bugs in this room, so he can take off his mask. He does so, and Kycelia informs him that she is quite aware that he is Cassival Rim Daikun. She says that his actions around Garma's death was suspicious, considering he is an ace. But she says she even knew back in the days of him being in the academy and switching places with the real Char Aznable. She wants to know what his plans are. Char tells her that after he betrayed Garma, he felt an emptiness to killing him. There really isn't a win in killing someone who trusted you. But the real truth is that everything changed when he became aware of the Flanagan Institute and met Lala. Now all he wishes is to live in a world where new types can thrive. This can't happen unless Zeon wins this war. Kycelia forgives the man who killed his brother. Meanwhile, General Revel is eating when he is informed that the Great Degwin is approaching him. This is the second time that General Revel was interrupted while eating a meal, and I just want to say that I find it quite quaint that he never gets to eat. Giran is informed of Degwin's surrender and preps the colony laser. Captain Asakura is commanding the colony laser team. Giran meets with Asakura's team and informs them of their target, General Revel's fleet at the focal point of the Geldova line. That focal point is the point where Revel's fleet does a 90-degree turn and heads towards Side 3, right in the direction of the colony laser. White Base crew is having a briefing when Amuro gets a new type flash. Captain Asakura is ready to fire, but one Musai is blocking the light on the solar panel. Get out of the way! As the two warring armors prep to meet for peace talks, Giran fires the colony laser. Giran fires the solar ray, taking out Degwin and Revel's fleet. The White Base crew watches as space glows with the light of the giant weapon of mass destruction. Amuro has a new type braingasm over all the dying souls. At A Baoa Qu, Giran gives a speech to his people. He tells them that what remains of General Revel's forces are nothing but dregs, and that they can rise up and defeat the remaining Federation forces. All hell is breaking loose at the focal point of the Geldova line. They need to break away, but Amuro knows that it won't be fired again. Bright tries to contact as many ships from Revel's fleet. He gets a message from the Razul informing them of Joaquin's orders. They are to rally ships from Revel's fleet around White Base. They will be the meetup point. The Dolos prepares for battle as they head towards A Baoa Qu. Lala bumps into Char and tells her that she has surpassed him in every way. Like the anime, the two kiss. Unlike the anime, a few pilots are passing by and they get a good glimpse of the action. Just ignore it. I'm probably going to die. I don't need horny red comment on my mind right now. The remaining fleet rallies around White Base. Bright wonders what their plan of attack will be. He thinks they don't have enough manpower. Amuro chimes in and tells him that everything will be fine, and this will end in success, as A Baoa Qu is their weakest point currently. Kai wonders if that is a new type hunch, and without hesitation, he says yes. Somewhere in the Guyana Highlands, Domon Kashu is undergoing training, but in the UC universe, underground is Jaburo's command center. Remember, Jaburo is a series of bases hidden beneath the Amazon. GOP is meeting with EFF government officials. After the death of Revel, they want to do an all-out attack on A Baoa Qu, but GOP is honest with them and tells them their chances are 50-50. GOP video calls Joaquin, who is now commander of Operation Star 1. He tells them that this will be their Normandy. Hopefully, they could touch down on A Baoa Qu right in front of their faces, forcing them into a short-range battle. Everyone in the room murmurs at his plan. Suddenly, Minovsky particle density says, "No call for you," and they lose signal with Joaquin. They don't think that Joaquin is fit to handle the operation, as he spent most of the war at Luna 2 and not on the front lines. One of the men asks if the rumor of Revel meeting with Degwin were true. They received reports, but haven't confirmed this. Word is that they are even trying to hide this fact to the Zeon people, which GOP assumes to mean that their forces aren't as big as they are leading on. On White Base, everyone is looking at the new model they received. It is the GM Close Combat type. The RGM-79 GM Close Combat type is a GM modification with fortified armor all over its body. This technically wasn't a variant, as only a handful were made with spare parts. The GM skirt can store extra grenades and an extra beam saber. This also has the added core pod escape craft. This seems to be some simplified version of the core block system, as it does have an even tinier core fighter. Everyone wants to pilot the new unit, but they assume it will go to Jobjon. But why? Jobjon tells everyone that he will be a part of the new gym team and that Sayla will be getting the close combat type. Hayato will take his old gun cannon. One person tells Frau Bo how hard it was to acquire normal suits for children. What was that phone call like? Yes, we need 3 normal suits for children. Actually, better make that 6. They are probably going to pee in the suits. Why do you have children on a battleship? No, it's okay. We learned how to accept them after they disabled some bombs at Jaburo. Children did what? Everyone gathers in the hangar. Bright gives his crew one final speech. Earlier, there was a panel showing a bunch of public-class ships gathering. The public-class ship was EFF's response to Zeon's mobile suit at the beginning of the war. Certainly, they would think to counter mobile suits with mobile suits, but instead, they created these. These speedy ships are designed to run support for a Salamis or a Magellan. It is designed for hit-and-run missions, and its main weapons are the 2 heavy anti-ship missiles. It could also use the beam diffusion missile, which when used with multiple publics, it can create a beam diffusion curtain. It also has a 6-tube missile launcher. During this attack, the public-class ships will dive through the enemy lines, during which they will only use mobile suits, as long-range attacks aren't an option in this short-range sortie. This will be their final mission. The public-class ship begins its attack on S-Field of A Baoa Qu. A Baoa Qu launches the new type team. Browbows launch with the Elmith. One of the Browbow pilots is Lieutenant Seamus Al-Bakaroff. She was Chalia Bull's co-pilot in the Browbow in the anime. One thing I forgot to point out that the original Browbow required 3 pilots, Seamus being one of them. The co-pilots are non-existent in the manga. She is very competitive with Lala, but Char tells her she is on a different level. Another unique mobile suit on the battlefield is the GM Long Range type. There isn't really any data on this unit except for the weapon set, which includes 2 cannons of unknown caliber, 2 beam sabers, and Vulcan guns. Based on the looks, it has a similar fortified armor that the close combat type has. We could also assume it probably has that slimmed down core block system as well. Another mobile suit assisting is the gun cannon first type. The White Base crew launches with Amuro out in front. The mobile suit battle begins. Sayla is looking for her brother. A Jim and Jim long range type is taken out. It is Lala in the Elmith. Amuro begins fighting her. She says that Amuro comes too late. That Amuro came too late in her life. Now Lala must kill Amuro or he will kill Char. Amuro takes out an Elmith bit. Lala tells him that he has no one to protect. The two wonder why it has to be like this and how fate is cruel. This entire chapter is just these two dancing in the cosmic glow. Go check it out as I can't do it justice. Char tells Lala to stop messing around and breaks their new type connection. The Gundam and Gelgoog begin engaging. Amuro takes out Char's beam rifle. He uses his beam Naginata to slice through Amuro's shield. Through the crack of the shield, Amuro thrusts his beam saber towards Char. But Lala in the Elmith gets in between the two. The beam saber pierces through the Elmith. Lala becomes the bird she always wanted to be. She tells Amuro that she can see time. With time, one day they can all understand one another. People can and will change. The Elmith explodes, killing Lala. Char, once again, is unable to take down the Gundam. In E-Field, Seamus and the Browbro takes out Jims when Sayla engages with her. She is able to get under the mobile armor and eventually get behind it. She shoots, taking out the Browbro. In her final moments, Seamus knows that Sayla is a new type. Sayla's Jim has taken a lot of damage. She ejects in her Chibi core fighter. At that moment, she passes by Char. She ignores her radio and follows him. Giran grabs a katana in the great halls of A Baoa Qu. He sends in Char, who has fled to his side. Of course, Giran knows that Char has disgraced himself and doesn't want to show his face to Kycilia. He thinks that he is just once again scheming in the shadows. He points his sword at Char. He actually does it twice. I thought I had deja vu. He grabs a samurai sword, then he grabs a French sword. His new type squad is defeated and merely wants to save face. But Giran also knows that he is Casseval Rim Daikun. He thinks he is trying to restore honor in the Daikun name. But Char says, what do I look like, the Ral family? Got him, Ral family. Giran could care less of his new type army as they are on the verge of victory and wonders if he is really here to do Kycilia's bidding. Char laughs. He fled to A Baoa Qu so he could use the Zeon. He knows of its research and wants to put it to good use. Giran gives him the opportunity to prove himself with the new mobile suit. For some reason, he heads to the hangar to meet good old No Legs. On the outskirts of A Baoa Qu, Joaquin's fleet spots Kycilia's Dolos heading towards the asteroid. They do an about-face and prepare to battle the Zabi. Sayla touches down on A Baoa Qu and searches for Char. She almost gets hit by some Zakus, and Zeon soldiers spot her. The Joaquin fleet is going down, one ship at a time. The long range of the Dolos is far superior. As Hayato and Kai touch down, they notice the ships fighting and realize they might not have a home to go back to. The Razul contacts White Base. It is Joaquin. He tells them that he and his fleet have failed. The Dolos will break through any moment and attack White Base next. They must push their ships towards the asteroid. Joaquin gets cut off as his ship Razul explodes. Joaquin and his fleet are defeated, but Bright knows what he must do. He must push the ship directly towards A Baoa Qu. The soldiers that found Sayla have taken her as a POW. Bright assumes command of whatever remains of the Togo fleet, and they are going for an all-out push with their battleships. Yeah, let's Leroy Jenkins this shit. The soldiers take Sayla to a security commander. They are all ready to have their way with her. The commander is about to rough her up before she says that she is Artesia Daikun and has returned to the Principality. White Base pushes through and crash lands onto A Baoa Qu. Kai and Hayato's new mission is to protect White Base with all they have. Amuro heads to White Base to resupply. On the Dolos, Kycilia watches as EFF flees to Zeon. It is finally time for Kycilia to talk to Giran. As the security commander tries to get in touch with Giran, Kycilia comes barging into the command center. She demands to know what happened to their father and the Great Degwin. He casually tells her that it went out too far and it couldn't be helped. Kycilia draws her beam gun and shoots Giran in the back of the head for committing patricide. On the outside, Zaku's fight Jims as EFF pushes their way in. On the inside, a coup takes place between Kycilia and Giran's men. However, the security commander informed Lieutenant Donovan about Artesia. He and his company visit Sayla to find out that she is the real Artesia Daikun. Donovan was Ramba Ral's men during the flashback, and we've seen him at the Cabaret Club. Like Ramba Ral, he is still loyal to the Daikun name. Now that Kycilia and Giran's armies are fighting one another, they forget about the Zabi name and follow Artesia Daikun, the true leader of Zeon. She now has her own army. Meanwhile, Char finally launches in the Zeon. As Amuro resupplies the Gundam, he actually decides to talk to Frau. She thought she would never get a chance to talk to him again, but that is when they get a red alert and notice a new mobile suit approaching their location. It is Char. Char and the Jiang heads directly towards White Base. Kai and Hayato are still on top of the ship defending. Jiang fires a beam cannon and shoots the hangar doors. It almost hits the Gundam as well as Omer and his mechanic team. The hatch is broken, so Amuro blasts through the door. White Base isn't surviving this battle. They engage. Amuro notes how fast the Jiang is. Char uses the detachable hands. They intend to kill each other in this battle. At A Baoa Qu Command HQ, Kycilia is informed that there is a mutiny of a small squad of Zeon forces. Donovan leads the mutiny and pushes towards the command center. Lieutenant Junior Grade Willie Macho and his crew help out Artesia's rebellion. He wants to avenge Granada, so we could assume he was originally under Dozel's command. Willie Macho and his men push forward. Kycilia is informed that Artesia Daikun is the one leading the charge. Kycilia realizes she made a huge mistake. Amuro is mad that Char brought Lala into their battle. Char tears through the Gundam's left arm. Amuro shoots his beam rifle through the Jiang's chest. The giant mobile suit is engulfed in flames. Char goes, "Bitch, I'm ahead." Remember, the Jiang's cockpit is in the head and can function independently for about 10 minutes. Kycilia orders everyone to abandon A Baoa Qu. They plan on blowing it up. Her men are going along with her orders, but you could slowly see Zeon unraveling. Char takes out the Gundam's head. He hears on the radio of a mutiny happening on the asteroid and laughs at Zeon falling apart. As the Gundam enters A Baoa Qu, Char gets above Amuro and fires. We get the iconic image of the Gundam shooting up at the Jiang's head. They fire on one another, and the Jiang and the Gundam go down. Kycilia's Chauvet-class ship, the Purple Widow, launches from the Dolos. She also launches a bunch of Doms and Zakus. This also seems to be a former squad of Dozel loyalists. White Base loses signal with the Gundam, and Frau Bo starts to freak out. Bright orders Kai and Hayato to head into A Baoa Qu and retrieve Sayla and Amuro. As the Purple Widow makes it to A Baoa Qu, she gets confirmation that the Gundam and Jiang are down. She is happy that Char died in battle. She insinuates that if he survived, she would have to kill him. Artesia tells the people of Zeon to rise up against Kycilia. As the two warring factions fight, Amuro gets out of the Gundam and goes to find Char. Kycilia regrets focusing her attention on only Char, knowing that Artesia was out there. One soldier wants to continue to defend the base, so Kycilia decides to shoot him. They tell all the men to get out of there. Sayla and her men push into the command center to find it empty. She sees Amuro on the security monitor. Something doesn't seem right. Donovan realizes what is happening and pushes Sayla out of the way. An explosion goes off. Shrapnel goes through Donovan's back, killing him in the process. Willie Macho shoots his machine gun in sadness. This guy has only been on 4 pages, but I want an entire spin-off manga about this guy now. Char whispers sweet nothings to Amuro while hiding in the shadows. As Amuro blames Char for Lala's death, he believes that without this war, Lala's new type powers wouldn't have been unlocked. The two go from shooting their sidearms to picking up swords. Char says that he is nothing without the Gundam. He isn't a trained soldier and is utterly defenseless. He tells him that the war should be fought between old types and new types. He tells Amuro that Lala could have been his new mommy. He reflects on the death of his mother. Amuro hides in the shadows. He now whispers sweet nothings to Char. Char sees a suit of armor and it reminds him of the attack on the Mass Estate when he was younger. Sayla and her team make it to Girin's quarters, where Amuro and Char are fighting. As she passes over the bridge to his quarters, Zeon soldiers begin firing on one another. Sayla passes by quickly, but the room goes up in flames and she loses her army. Well, that was fun while it lasted, although Willie Macho does survive. More on that later. She goes into Girin's quarters to find Amuro and Char fighting. They thrust towards one another with their swords. Amuro gets a hit on Char's head. If he wasn't wearing a helmet, he would have been dead. Char was also able to stab through Amuro's shoulders and do a decent amount of damage. In the anime, Char grazes Amuro, but in the manga, we get full penetration. Sayla rushes to Amuro's side. The air is getting thin. Char tells the two to get out of here. He has to finish what he started. If he doesn't blow up Kycilia's face, this would all be for nothing. He tells Sayla to go and be a woman that men will die for. You know, not everyone has mommy issues like you, Char. One thing I also want to note in this moment is that in Gundam Pulitzer, Sayla tells an older Kika that she wasn't the one to stop Amuro and Char. It was actually new type bird ghost Lala that stopped the two. I thought this was referenced in this manga, but it isn't. Oxygen levels will be in the red in 5 minutes. Most forces stop fighting and abandon A Baoa Qu. Char uses his jetpack to rush towards the hangar. He finds 2 random Zeon soldiers and says, "This bazooka is mine now." The random Zeon soldiers aren't mad because they believe they just ran into the red comet. You think these two survived? Kycilia takes off in the Purple Widow. She believes that with the Dolos and Granada, they can reclaim some power on the space front, but she is unaware of how divided her forces currently are. We could argue that Kycilia was actually responsible for the creation of Zeon remnants before the war even ended. Remember, after Girin's death, many Zeon forces said F this and bailed to fight another day. We see this in Igloo, Stardust Memory, and many mangas. Kycilia is certainly clueless to how small Zeon is right now, at least the Zeon that she has power over. Before we move on to face vaporization, I also want to mention that Kycilia isn't as cowardly in the manga. In the anime, she forced her underling Twaning to be the one to surrender while she makes her escape. In the manga, Twaning gets the luxury of dying on the Purple Widow with Kycilia. Alright, let's see that head pop, shall we? Char finally has completed his goal of destroying the Zabi family. Good thing you can't see erections in a normal suit. In the anime, Char takes out Caecilia in the dock. Here, they are already in movement towards the Dolos. Because of this, the Purple Widow crashes into the Dolos, destroying Caecilia's beast of a ship. A Baoa Qu is engulfed in flames and begins caving in. Bright orders everyone on White Base to abandon ship. Kika begins crying as she doesn't want to leave her home. Amuro and Sayla make their way out of A Baoa Qu, but they run into a group of gems breaking through the base. Kai and Hayato are there as well. This almost kills them because, they're just people versus mobile suits, but they get separated. During the separation, Amuro stumbles onto the Gundam. Most of the crew has made it off of White Base. All that is left is Mirai and Bright. She wonders if he is finding it hard to leave the ship. Of course, he says it is his duty, but he does feel a sense of loss in this moment. Mirai thanks Bright for everything he has done for her and the crew. He says he couldn't have done it without her. Moments like this make their relationship make sense. If you just watch the anime, Mirai and Bright's relationship is sad. It's essentially a relationship that failed upwards. The Origin does a great job at showing how great they work together. They also communicate and solve problems together in the manga more so than the anime. As Bright is about to confess his feelings for her, Mirai senses Amuro. Amuro was guided back to the Gundam by Lala. She helps Amuro talk to the White Base crew. He calms Kika down. He tells Frau that she is the best mother ever, and he tells Sayla to get up, fight, and return to White Base. He guides her to Kai and Hayato, who pick her up. Amuro detaches Gundam B parts to use the core fighter. Sayla, Kai, and Hayato make it back to the base. White Base and A Baoa Qu go up in flames. They wonder where Amuro is. They try to sense him, but they feel nothing. That is when Kika says she could sense Amuro. He blasts out of the flames in the core fighter. He tells Lala that he could see her anytime, but right now, he has to be with his family. Believe people grow up by enduring sorrow after sorrow. Now my beloved is trembling with loneliness, and I hold that sadness deep in my heart. Believe, let these tears return to the seas. Yes, my sweet, yes, my sweetest. I want to get back to where you were. No one can survive alone. Universal Century 0080. EFF and the Principality of Zeon reach peace agreement. And that will conclude Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin. This is a beautiful manga, and you could get the entire 12 hardcover volumes for around $200. That being said, the official Kodakawa translation is embarrassing. It is translated to English devoid of any Western culture. Why even bother translating it? It is robotic and way too proper that makes you think you're watching something made from the 1930s. Fan translators like Zeonic and Trafalgar Log put the official translators to shame, and they should truly be embarrassed. That being said, the full color artwork outweighs the terrible translation, and it is absolutely worth it. I can't stress how much I am not doing the artwork justice in this coverage. It is something you just have to see with your own eyes. We will eventually cover the Kukuru's Doan's Island MSD side story manga, but let me know if you want me to cover the Origin side story Artesia 0083. In this manga, Sayla plays Polo. We learn that Willy Macho survived A Baoa Qu and wants Sayla to return to Zeon. Also, Kai has a dream where Bright sucks on Mirai's titties. Nope, that isn't a lie. A censored version is on the screen right now. This exists. Oh, Yasuhiko, you horny dog, you. So where do we go in the White Base arc of the 1 year war from here? We've done the manga and the anime. Well, our next journey will most likely be Tomino's novel, Mobile Suit Gundam: Awakening, Escalation, Confrontation, translated by Frederick Schott. This has been on my reading list for quite some time, but I hear it is a more grounded retelling of the story that focuses more on the political drama and new types, and mobile suits are relegated to the background. Let me know if you're interested in breaking down the novel. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, it's about family.
It's about family, and that's what's so powerful about it.